so far.
And last week in Atlanta's win over the Jets, the Falcons put the run back in the run and shoot. Ironhead Haywood going over 100 yards for the second straight week. It was a question mark today with a sprained left knee, but he says he's all right. He's in the starting lineup.
Yeah, and Ironhead started slowly this season, but the last two games he has really picked it up and carried the Atlanta Falcons football team. When you're playing in a run and shoot offense, if you can send a guy 250 pounds into the secondary working against those 6 defensive backs, oh boy, this offense can be very, very effective.
And there is head coach Bill Parcells, who told us last night he has been exasperated by the Patriots' recent play, considering some personnel changes pending on what takes place here today. The Patriots have won the toss, and they will receive. Troy Brown and Dave Meggett are back deep, awaiting the kick from Morton Anderson, who has not been allowing many kickoff returns. And Meggett will stay right there. Morton Anderson continues to do a terrific job. And there's Scott Zolak in his 5th NFL season out of Maryland, a 4th-round draft pick back in 1991. A look at the Patriot offensive line. Armstrong, Kratch, Dellenbach, Rucci, and Lane. Max Lane for the injured Pat Harlow. Zolak with Gash and Martin as the running backs. Brisby, Moore, and Coates the receivers. Meggett comes in the 2-back set. And Curtis Martin gets the call, the rookie from Pittsburgh, stopped by the strong safety Kevin Ross. Bill Parcells telling us last night that he is hoping to use Dave Meggett more frequently. He has not been getting into the offense as of late. And the Atlanta front 4 coming off a strong game against the Jets. Chuck Smith had a couple of sacks last week. Matthews, Tuggle, and Talley, the veteran linebacking core. DJ Johnson is back after suffering the sprained hamstring. Martin running to the marker, looking for the first down, stopped by the middle linebacker Jesse the Hammer Tuggle.
And Joe Herring, the defensive coordinator for the Atlanta Falcons, was telling me that he anticipated the Patriots would come out, try and run the football on 1st and 2nd down to keep Scott Zolak out of 3rd and long situations, especially with the good pass rush that the Falcons have. And there is a player down on the field.
It is Chris Dolman who leads the NFL in sacks with 5.5 of the injured player, and he is back from off-season foot surgery. In fact, that dramatically affected his play last year.
On the right side of your screen, Chris Dolman just working against his man. Looked like his own man or one of the Patriots players just rolled up underneath him, and that would be a tremendous blow for this Atlanta Falcons defense. Dolman, after a season ago in which a lot of his teammates thought that he just didn't like it here, that he didn't want to play, didn't seem to be playing very hard. And when we talked to Chris Dolman, he said that I was injured. Nobody believed I was injured. It basically hurt his feelings, and he felt like that his teammates had let him down by not believing that he was hurt. But now off to a super start so far this season.
And the Patriots with a first down at the 31-yard line. New England with a victory opening day over Cleveland. The losses to Miami and then to San Francisco 2 weeks ago, followed by the bye week. Curtis Martin gets the call once again. Talley and Tuggle on the stops. Pick up a 4 and a 2nd down and 6. Curtis Martin had that brilliant NFL debut, running for 102 yards, scoring the game-winning touchdown. A Patriots opening day record against Cleveland, but things have slowed down recently, and Martin again with a nice run also draws a flag. Kevin Ross, the strong safety. Martin picking up the first down, but let's see what this flag is about. It is against New England.
And that's what Bill Parcells was talking about yesterday, that every time they get something going offensively, they find a way to self-destruct.
Holding, 10 yards, number 61 offense, still 2nd down.
Having difficulty picking up the call on the referee microphone. We're told it's the left guard Bob Cratch. And it sets it back to a second down and 15. That is only the second penalty all season on the Patriots offensive line. The earlier one on Todd Ritchie in the game against the 49ers that cost them a touchdown. It's Meggett. Stopped by Tuggle. Stopped at the line.
And you got the feeling that Bill Parcells was a little touchy about the subject of Dave Meggett. You brought it up yesterday. And when he was asked about Meggett, he got a little defensive about it. He said, I know he hasn't had the numbers, especially the punt return numbers there, well off his career mark, but they're planning on using him more on first and second down than they have all season in this ball game today.
It's third and long. And Zolak able to float it, but well short of the first down as he completes with Troy Brown. It was covered by the free safety Roger Harper. Troy Brown 2 weeks ago against the 49ers had 5 catches, but Zolak's pass to Brown picking up only 6 yards, and it leads to the punting unit, Pat O'Neill, who has been struggling. Bill Parcells not happy with the punting game. O'Neill is back for the first time, back at his 20. Eric Metcalf, the lone deep back. And Metcalf tried to spin away and actually lost on the play. 45-yard punt. Larry Wiggum getting downfield in a hurry. Welcome back to the Georgia Dome. The Atlanta Falcons going to the offense for the first time, and they will start out at their 18-yard line. Jeff George in his 6th year out of Illinois. 5 TDs, 5 interceptions. He has been able to cut loose in this wide open Falcon offense. Jeff, bothered these days by a sprained foot, has been using a walking cast during the course of the week. First and 10 at the 18. No score. We're in the early going. And off the play fake, he's able to get it to Metcalf. A fake handoff to Hayward, and then the completion to Metcalf. Pickup of 7. It'll be a second down and 3 up front for Atlanta. Whitfield, Williams, Toback for the injured Roman Fort now with a ankle problem. Zandowski is back from a knee injury, and Richards at right tackle. Hayward is the lone running back. Burton, Mathis, Metcalf, and Emmanuel, the 4 receivers in the run and shoot when they go to a third down set. The tight end Mitch Lyons, who was actually in the game plan last week with 2 receptions, will come on. Off the roll, George with the short range pop to Hayward, who's tripped up reaching for the marker. Tim Roberts, a native of Atlanta, number 94, making the stop on the play. And let's see where they spot it. Look at the New England front 4. Slade, Roberts, Collins, and McGinnis as they go in a 4-1-6 against the run and shoot. The only linebacker in that set is Brown, and 6 defensive backs. In fact, the Patriots have dressed 9 DBs for the game. It is first down for Atlanta at the 29. The only running back, Ironhead Hayward, and gets the call. Bringing across the 30, Farrell Collins, who has been playing well, had a good one against the 49ers. In on the stop. He's a second-year player from the University of California. There he is, number 92.
Yeah, he had a couple of sacks last week against the 49ers, and Bill Parcells talked about him being one of the bright spots on this defense, and they could use a few on the defensive line, a defensive line that really has been getting pushed around in the first 3 games of the season.
Second down and 8. The rush, Mathis on the reception. Terrence Mathis able to outrace the secondary, bringing inside the 40-yard line. A 30-yard pass play. The strong safety, Terry Ray, finally brought him down.
Absolutely the perfect call. The Patriots come with their first blitz of the day. The pressure's there. They've got a flanker screen, and you could not ask for a better play. As a defensive coordinator now, you are a little intimidated to call that all-out blitz when you get burned for a big play like that.
Terrence Mathis very quiet last week against his former team, the New York Jets. Picks up 30 for a first down at the New England 39-yard line. Now George to the sideline, completes to Bert Emanuel. It's a short pickup. Ty Law, the rookie defensive back, on the stop. New England Patriots with a record of 1-2 against what has to be considered a difficult schedule, but Bill Parcells is the first to say you are what you are. He is not very happy with the play of this Patriot club.
Yeah, but the teams they have been playing also are what they are, and they are Cleveland, Miami, and San Francisco. In my opinion, 3 of the 4 best football teams in the National Football League this year, excluding only the Dallas Cowboys.
Second down and 5 at the 34-yard line. Again, George able to complete off the roll. Has Emanuel, who coughed it up. Patriots say they have it. The officials looking to unravel it, and it is a New England recovery. The strong safety, Terry Ray, coming up with it. Terry Ray, who was originally drafted by Atlanta in the 6th round back in 1992.
And Terry Ray is the leading tackler. Nice block thrown out there by Mike Zandowski. And for Emanuel, it just got stripped from behind. Looked like one of the defensive linemen hustling back down the field. Maybe that's Willie McGinnis, number 55, came back to make the strip.
Patriots from their 30-yard line, and the play is blown dead. 8:38 remaining.
And Marv,
this opening quarter with no score.
Pardon me.
False start. 5 yards. Number 68, 87, moving prior to the snap. First down.
And that's the right tackle, Max Lane, who was called by the referee, Tom White. And it's a 1st and 15 at the 25. Zolak able to complete. Will Moore on the catch, bumped out by the right corner, Terry Taylor, and it sets a 2nd down and 5 at the 35.
Nice job of reading the coverage this time by Scott Zolak. They come out in a man coverage. He finds the guy on the out pattern. Absolutely the right read. So Zolak looks comfortable so far in this ballgame.
He's hit 2 of 2 for 15 yards. That is Moore in motion. And it's Curtis Martin, who is stacked up. Picked up a couple on the play. Clay Matthews leading that assault, and again a penalty against New England.
Maybe Jeff Dellenbach who was in a stare down contest with the official. He threw it right at Dellenbach's feet. And for Bill Parcells, the mistakes continue with this offense.
Last season they committed only 78 penalties.
Number 68. Offense, 10 yards, 2nd down.
And once again, the 2nd-year man from Navy, Max Lane. Last year, Patriots committed the 2nd fewest penalties in the NFL. Only Chicago had more. Here's another look at it.
Max Lane with the takedown. Not a lot of doubt about that one. He's in there for Pat Harlow because Harlow continues to struggle with that ankle injury.
And that's the 3rd penalty on the offensive line this afternoon. Zolak able to complete to Meggett. And Meggett with a 1st down. Taken out by Darryl Talley. So Dave Meggett very much into the offense here at the start. That's good for 19 yards.
And they found a way to get one-on-one coverage with Dave Meggett and Darryl Talley, number 99. Darryl Talley coming over from Buffalo will be no match whatsoever. The Falcons want to try and cover backs with a combination inside-outside coverage with their linebackers, who are a very old group. That time they got the single coverage.
Meggett for a short gain. This is such an important game in terms of early season play for the Patriots. The New England Patriots do not want to depend on winning their last 7 games as they did last year to make the playoffs. Still a long way to go with 12 games left following today, but this is a team that was a preseason favorite of many to make it to the Super Bowl. You look at the upcoming schedule after today: home for Denver, then at Kansas City, and then Buffalo. So they are looking at today as close to a must-win as you can get. Zolak is pounded and lost it. Picked up by Darryl Talley. Meggett made the stop, and it looked like Talley spiked in his face, and that could be a taunting flag.
Silly play there by Darryl Talley, who's going to cost his team 15 yards at the end of this play.
It'll be Atlanta's ball. First down. The end of the play. Unsportsmanlike conduct. Number 99 for spiking the ball. Will be 15 yards. First and 10. Timeout.
So first and 10 for the Falcons. We'll be right back.
The NFL on NBC is brought to you by Chevrolet. The cars and trucks 36 million people depend on every day. Genuine Chevrolet. By American Express. By the next generation of Die Hard, America's most trusted battery. And by McDonald's. Have you had your break today?
Jumpy Gathers has given his team great field position, just working one-on-one against Jeff Dellenbach. Hit Zolak in the back. Zolak really no chance whatsoever. Talley picks it up and then really hurts his football team with the spike afterwards.
So the Falcons from the New England 42-yard line. First down and 10. George with a long look, had much time and able to complete to Mathis, and then he had it knocked away. And let's see, it is recovered by Atlanta. Falcons had an opportunity to cover it up. Patriots with a shot at it. Falcons also with a shot at it, and it looks like J.J. Burden was able to come up with the football.
Somebody put a 10 over this circus. There's been balls flying everywhere. First of all, Terrence Mathis comes up with a great catch. And once again, just like Emmanuel did on the last play, loses control of the football. But J.J. Burden manages to find a way to fall on it. I mean, it's just like they can't find a handle on this thing today.
Meanwhile, George is 6 of 6 for 66 yards and a first down at the 18-yard line. But Atlanta wants to talk it over. 5:44 remaining in this opening quarter. At this point, perfect stat line for the starting quarterbacks, Scott Zolak and Jeff George. 5:44 remaining in this first quarter with no score. Atlanta at the New England 18 and a first and 10. George able to line drive it, completing to Emmanuel, who was down on one knee and just picked up a couple of yards. Tim Roberts and Ricky Reynolds combined on the stop of Bert Emmanuel, a second-year player out of Rice. He has been a big play receiver, second-round draft pick last year as a rookie, 46 catches and playing very well again this season.
And he is the fastest of the wide receivers for the Falcons. The last 2 games, 11 catches, 178 yards. He has become their big play guy.
Second and about 9. Now the swing handled by Metcalf. And he's hit back for a loss. Willie McGinnis was right there. It'll be a third and 12.
It looks like Eric Metcalf may have been shaken a bit at the end of that play. Vernon Lewis looked like he was going to be playing the run inside, popped out late to make the play on Metcalf, and you could see his legs folded back underneath Vernon Lewis. We'll try to keep an eye on Eric Metcalf.
Eric Metcalf leading the NFL in receptions, but that last one for a loss of 3 on the play. short for Metcalf. And he's hit at the 19 drop. Good coverage by the New England secondary. The combination of Vernon Lewis and the linebacker Vincent Brown combined to make the stop. And Morton Anderson trots out in what should be a gimme for Morton at 33 yards away. 10 of 11 on the season for Anderson. The official call is now 34-yard field goal attempt. And he is able to pop it through. 3:36 to go. First quarter. Atlanta 3 and New England nothing. Well, in New England the past couple of weeks, Bill Parcells has certainly been questioned about his decision to leave Drew Bledsoe in the game against the San Francisco 49ers this 2 weeks ago. Bledsoe in obvious pain with the separated shoulder, and Parcells went back to him in the fourth quarter. We talked with Bill about that decision.
I was on the sideline. It was simply this. The doctor said, Bledsoe's out. We're going to take him to the dressing room and look at him. And they brought him back, and he was standing right adjacent to me, and the doctor said, he can go. And I asked Drew, I said, how you doing? He said, I'm ready to go. I put him back in, and that was that. And the decision was made on that basis. And now, retrospectively, as the game wore on, if I'd have known what I know now, maybe I wouldn't have left him in. But at that moment, the decision doesn't bother me at all. I do the same thing over again.
Slight pullback, Chris.
Yeah, and I think you're glad to see that, because it was a mistake. And you don't leave your franchise quarterback in there at the end of the ball game to get injured. But Marv, it's really a deeper problem in the National Football League, because we have all been trained since high school, really, that when you get hurt, you go back in the game unless you are maimed, unless you just can't walk, unless you can't throw the football. It was his off shoulder, not his passing arm. And I'm sure that Drew Bledsoe felt like, well, if the doctor says I'm okay, let me get back in there. And that's a whole nother can of worms. The concept of team doctors in the National Football League. Doctors are supposed to be taking care of the patients, not the team.
All right, on the first down play, Curtis Martin picks up 3. And as you saw, Bledsoe dressed and available. And as Will McDonough mentioned on the pregame show, in the first 3 quarters, Bledsoe is the 3rd quarterback. The rookie from Alabama, Jay Barker, is the backup number 2 to Zolak. In the first 3 quarters, if the 3rd quarterback enters the game, the team's other 2 quarterbacks become ineligible to participate and may not return under any circumstance. In the 4th quarter, or an overtime, if the 3rd quarterback of Bledsoe, in this case, would enter the game, both of the team's other 2 quarterbacks remain eligible. That's a new twist on the rule. Martin out to the 25-yard line, stopped by the combination of Chuck Smith and Mo Gardner. Chris, in your days with the Bengals, were you ever in a pressure situation in terms of injury where you felt that you were being forced or being convincingly told to play?
Marv, every week someone is in that position where they are injured, probably should not be in there, but because of the salary cap, because of the 45-man roster, if you are not willing to go in and play, they find somebody else to do it.
3rd and 4, and the wide open Vincent Brisby in a foot race. Brisby tackled just short of the goal line by Ron Davis. Brisby was all by himself, and it's a 71-yard pass connection.
Scott Zolak with a tremendous throw, and Vincent Brisby, who has been in a slump, as Bill Parcells called it, 5 drop passes a week ago, redeems himself here early in this one, and just barely loses this foot race.
Yes, he's dropped a couple of the end zone. Zolak celebrating the 71-yard pass play. However, the New England Patriots have had all kinds of problems in the red zone. And as I say that, Zolak is able to cover up on the snap mix-up.
Unbelievable the amount of problems they've had in the red zone. 15 trips inside the 20-yard line, only 1 touchdown, and it's a curse. It's not just Drew Bledsoe. Zolak comes out and drops the first one.
All right. I'll look at what Cris was mentioning. The Patriots have been inside the opponent's 20-yard line 15 times. They've scored only 1 touchdown. Last year, their first 3 games, the Patriots scored on 13 of their 14 drives inside the red zone. 10 for touchdown. And Meggett is stopped. It'll bring up a 3rd and goal at the 4.
You have to believe that for the Patriots now, this is 4-down territory. Bill Parcells cannot allow his offense to continue to struggle and to continue to have these kind of problems. I think he's going to hand this football off 2 more times and say, guys, I don't even want to hear about it. We're playing power football. If you can't get it done, come back and sit by me on the bench.
Martin and Gash are the running backs. Here's Martin. Let's see, did he get over? Yes, he did. A touchdown for Curtis Martin. That reminiscent of the winning touchdown that he scored opening day against the Browns.
And you like to see that out of Curtis Martin. Almost, give me the football. I'm going over the top. Forget about the blocking. You guys get in their way. I'm going to get this done. Now Curtis Martin has both Patriot touchdowns. And a sense of relief for Bill Parcells. What a struggle it has been to score touchdowns this year.
And here is Matt Barr for the extra point. 14 seconds to go in the quarter. And the Patriots have taken a 7-3 lead.
Curtis Martin came out so big in that first game of the season, has been quiet the last 2 weeks. Pretty strong lead block in there. Probably Sam Gash. Absolutely it was. He is the guy that took over for Kevin Turner, and while he's not nearly the receiving back, watch Sam Gash go in there and get a little movement. That was just enough for Curtis Martin.
6 plays, 80 yards, 3 minutes, 22 seconds on the drive. The big play, the 71-yard pass play, Zolak combining with Brisby. So Zolak 4 of 4 for 105 yards, and this only his 5th NFL start. One of the previous 4 came against Atlanta back in November of '92, and the Falcons won that game 34-zip. That was not one of Scott Zolak's personal highlight real achievements. Did not have a good one, but did win 2 games back in that '92 season for a New England team that won 2 and lost 14.
And remember, he told us yesterday that he went back and watched some of those tapes. He wanted to get that emotion going back in him, get that confidence, and that's exactly what he did 3 years ago.
Roel Preston and Jamal Anderson are back for the kickoff. And it's taken by Preston. Roel Preston, a rookie from Mississippi. With 1 second to go in this opening quarter.
Yeah, we talked about the red zone struggles for the Patriots, but the Atlanta Falcons have struggled as well. They were down inside the 20. They in 4 games, they've only had 6 touchdowns in 15 trips inside the red zone, so they have struggled as well. This is an offense, moves the ball up and down the field, but any team in the National Football League can move it between the 20s. You have to stick it in when you get the opportunity.
That is Mathis in motion. George able to dump it off to Hayward. And Ironhead across the 35 as this first quarter comes to a close. Jeff George finishes up at 10 of 10 in this opening quarter. We'll be back in a moment. Welcome back to Atlanta. Marv Albert with Cris Collinsworth from the Georgia Dome. Capacity here is 71,594. Looks to be in the area of 40,000, maybe 45,000. They had 40 last week for the game against the Jets. People here are just not buying the Falcons, despite the record of 3-1. They're looking at the teams they've beaten: Carolina, New Orleans, the Jets. They're also looking at the history of this franchise, and as a result, they have not turned out. 2nd down and 3. Shovel pass. That was risky. Hayward came up with it and has a first down. So Atlanta with a first down. We'll step away for this update. Here's Greg Gumbel.
All right, Marv, in Cincinnati, this is Dan Marino going up against the Bengals. Randall Hill activated for the first time all season. This is good for 59 yards to set up a Pete Stoyanovich field goal in the Shula Bowl at Riverfront Stadium. It's 3-0 Miami, just underway in the second quarter. Marv?
That counts as a completed pass, Chris. He's 11 for 11 now. Jeff George on his way to tying a Falcon club record. Here's Hayward. Make it 12 of 12 for Jeff George.
Boy, that is an emerging quarterback right there. Getting pressure on the backside from Chris Slade, and you can believe Terrence Mathis is not going to get him blocked. But on the other side, Willie McGinnis looked like he was going to take away the receiver, Ironhead Hayward. George waited. Finally, McGinnis sort of broke towards him and dropped it in over the top of the head. Very, very nice quarterbacking by Jeff George.
2nd and 3 at the 49-yard line. And the handoff to Hayward, and he is hit down back behind the line. Chris Slade making a good play.
Chris Slade is a fine football player for the Patriots. A guy that really likes to set up the inside move on the pass rush. 20.5 sacks in 24 games in his career. Another one of those guys that a lot of people don't know a whole lot about, but he is destined for stardom in this league.
Jeff George is now 12 for 12 for 87 yards. The team record held by George, 13 in a row. That was established last year. 3rd down and 3. A lot of jumping. Flags throwing. Oh, beautiful catch. A lunging catch and another flag. Burton picking up the first down, but penalties have to be discussed. The NFL record, Chris, most consecutive passes completed, 22. Fellow by the name of Joe Montana did it for the 49ers against Cleveland back in November of '87. If that pass holds up, that's 13 in a row for Jeff George.
I think I'll take the under on this one.
Offsides. Defense number 53. Penalty is declined. Pass interference. Number 37 defense. Penalty is declined. First down.
Boy, this was fun. J.J. Burton, who led the Chiefs in receiving each of the last 3 years. Check it out. You just can't get a whole lot better than that. He may have a little bit of that secret stick-em on those gloves. That's fantastic. It's always fun to see somebody lay out and make one like that.
And the Falcons first down at the Patriot 42-yard line. George able to stay in the pocket, and then facing the pressure is down at the 42-yard line, back at the line of scrimmage. Vincent Brown getting to the quarterback, Jeff George, who is now 13 for 13 for 97 yards.
You know, it's interesting talking to Jeff George, and we asked him about his days in Indianapolis. He said they were the worst times of my life. He said, it was my hometown. People didn't like me. Everywhere I went, I got booed. They said negative things about me. He is so happy to be out of Indianapolis and now here with Atlanta.
And a perfect offense in the run and shoot, although we haven't certainly been seeing more run with Hayward having success. George with the pass to the front, dropped by Mathis, who should have had it. So that is his first incompletion. He hits on his first 13, which ties his own record in the Atlanta Falcon press guy.
This ball is undroppable right in the midst for Terrence Mathis, who is probably their best hands guy. But you got to look at Jeff George's arm. He really is beginning to display some of the skills that made him the #1 pick coming out of college.
Burton to the left, Emmanuel to the right. It's a 3rd down and 10. Patriots 7 and the Falcons 3. Look out, George with a quick release, avoiding the blitz, and this time connects with Mathis, some 4 yards short of a first down. Myron Guyton on the stop. Myron Guyton playing in his home state for the first time in his 7-year career. In fact, he's been so enthused that he's ordered 75 tickets to the game plus 13 hotel rooms.
He's taking over the city.
And Morton Anderson now with a long-range attempt, 54-yard attempt. It is good.
What a weapon.
Anderson from 54 yards away. It was a 4th down and 4. And as you say, a tremendous advantage to have Morton Anderson kicking field goal. Well, Morton Anderson, who once kicked a 60-yard field goal, able to hit from 54 yards away. And it's a 7-6 Patriot lead. The return by Meggett, finding the opener. Meggett slowed down and then taken down at the 44-yard line. Kevin Ross on the stop.
Dave Meggett hasn't been much on punt return so far, but kickoff's very good. And what a weapon Morton Anderson is. How in the world does the New Orleans Saints let this guy get out over a couple $100,000? I mean, cut some backup defensive tacklers. This is a guy to put all the points on the board. They had to be absolutely out of their mind. Defense or special teams player of the month in the National Football League.
35 years old in his 14th NFL season. 37-yard run by Meggett, his longest kickoff return on the season. That intended for Sam Gash, covered by Kevin Ross, and Zolak with his first incompletion.
And that's really what the Patriots have been missing out of this offense. Kevin Turner, a guy not a sensational player by any means, but he really took a lot of the pressure off of Ben Coates, the tight end. Parcells, even back to his days with the Giants, loved playing that little fullback tight end game in the passing game, and Sam Gash just not the same kind of threat.
Zolak 4 of 5, 105 yards. Meggett to the 47, met by Pierce Holt. 4 minutes gone by in the second quarter, and the Patriots with a 7-6 lead on the Falcons.
Pierce Holt coming back off of that elbow surgery. Still been having some problems with it. Missed some practice time this week. But boy, was he a load when he played with the San Francisco 49ers. Getting a little older now, though.
It's a 3rd and 6. And the swing pass handled by Meggett, and he is dropped by Ross. Kevin Ross up from strong safety. And has spent 10 years with Kansas City and signed with Atlanta as a free agent last season.
You know, Marv, nothing wrong with that call, but that's a battle that Dave Meggett has to win. You get one-on-one in the open field against a strong safety like Kevin Ross. Now, he's a good football player, but Dave Meggett, a couple of years ago, he wins that battle and picks up the first down. Not a good play at all by Meggett.
So Pat O'Neill on this 4th down and 6 will punt from inside his 35-yard line. Eric Metcalf calling for the fair catch. 36-yard punt. Back in a moment. You're watching the NFL on NBC.
The NFL on NBC is brought to you by Jeep, maker of the new Jeep Grand Cherokee. By Smooth Bush Beer and Easy Drinking Bush Light. By Pennzoil, the motor oil that works like liquid ball bearings. And by BASF. We don't make a lot of products you buy. We make a lot of the products you buy better.
Kevin Ross out here is going to be absolutely on an island against Dave Meggett with about a circumference about 10 yards with only he and Dave Meggett out there, and he made the play. That's just something that Meggett has to win if the Patriots offense is going to work.
Falcons first down from their 17-yard line. And it's Ironhead stopped at the line. Yank tackle. Greg Hayward a question mark because of a sprained left knee suffered in the game against the Jets last week. Hayward running for 120 yards last week. 2 weeks ago in the overtime win over New Orleans, 102 yards. The last time an Atlanta running back ran for 100 yards 3 straight weeks, back in '86, Gerald Riggs did it. Second down and 7. George again getting the time, and a flag is thrown. J.J. Burton, covered by Myron Guyton, and it will be an interference call. Reed Lips pass interference was passed on, obviously.
Multi-talented Marv.
Yes.
Pass interference, defense, number 37, first down.
Well, it's called on Maurice Hurst.
What a tough year it has been so far for Maurice Hurst. Top of the screen, working one-on-one, has the man coverage. You can tell by the inside technique, and that's just a foul. But Maurice Hurst, I think, is a little shell-shocked so far this year. He's faced Jerry Rice, Irving Fryer, Michael Jackson, and they have all gotten the better of him.
And a first down at the 43-yard line. George just throwing it away, had no one in sight. Eric Metcalf was downfield, but was well covered by Ricky Reynolds, the left corner. And that will bring up a 2nd and 10 at the 43. George is now 14 of 16 for 103 yards.
And if you want to play along at home with the defensive coordinator, Al Groh, all you have to do for the Patriots is watch number 43, Vernon Lewis. He's playing little mind games. There's Al Groh. Little mind games with Jeff George, bringing Lewis in to put 6 in the box, almost treating him like a linebacker, dropping him back out in pass coverage. That time, Lewis on a blitz.
Once again, George able to avoid the pressure and throws downfield for Mathis. Broke it up. Ty Law, the rookie from Michigan, in the physical coverage of Terrence Mathis.
Nice play that time by Ty Law. He's the #1 draft pick. They obviously would like to get him involved, and the Patriots sort of running into each other and giving up the sack. But this one looked like it had a chance when Jeff George let it go. And really the thing that saved Ty Law was he got his head around at the last moment, or that could have been borderline pass interference. But by looking back, it was not. Good call.
Yes, Ty Law, the 2nd defensive back selected in the draft. It'll be a 3rd and 10 at the 43, and the Falcons want to talk it over. We'll be right back. Well, to this point, Ironhead Hayward has been quiet in terms of running the ball. 3 rushes, 5 yards. He's also caught 4 passes. I mentioned the sprained left knee. Here's how he suffered the injury last week in the game against the Jets in a rare spin move.
And Bob Woodfield, the left tackle for the Falcons, said, well, he deserved to get hurt. He's out there making that fat boy move on the outside. You know, he deserved. The funny thing, though, was Bob Woodfield was talking about Ironhead. Now that he lost all the weight, he's down under 250 pounds. Said he struts around the locker room like he's the most beautiful football player in the National Football League. So once you're a fat guy, you're always a fat guy. You're not going back.
He won't let Ironhead feel good about himself.
No, not at all.
3rd and 10 at the 43. 8.5 to go in the first half. Patriots 7 and the Falcons 6. George being chased, able to release, able to complete to Metcalf, but well short of the first down. Terry Ray on the coverage of Metcalf, and the punting unit will check in.
Chris Slade with the pressure. They also came with Vernon Lewis, who I was telling you about on the inside. That's what opened it up for Slade. But the play really made by Terry Ray on the outside. What a huge open field tackle that was on Metcalf.
Dan Straczynski, in his 6th year out of Indiana, has had an excellent season. Good free agent pickup from Tampa Bay, punting for the first time. Meggett is back. Meggett from his 12 and runs it out. 45-yard punt and a 6-yard return. Well, there's Scott Zolak's dad, Paul, who coached Joe Montana at Ringgold Area High School in Monongahela, Pennsylvania. Scott, the water boy for that ball club.
Yeah, it was interesting. He was telling us that he got Joe Montana's last chin strap from his last high school game, and a lot of different things for Scott Zolak. He has a ball that he sort of rubs, and there's a picture of Joe and Scott, and there's his good luck ball autographed by Joe Montana. He rubs on that, and it gives him good luck. He used it 3 years ago when he got the start and won, and then brought it with him again.
Scott, see you in the NFL, signed Joe Montana. Nice touch to that. And Zolak completing to Brisbee. It is a first down for the Patriots. DJ Johnson, who's back in the lineup, made the stop. DJ back from a sprained hamstring. 7 minutes, 20 seconds remaining in this first half. Patriots first down at their 33-yard line. They lead Atlanta 7-6. Bill Parcells talking about Brisbee being in a slump. Chris, have you ever experienced a slump? I'm not talking from the broadcast point of view now. Here's a play action pass. And that was intended for Hassan Graham, covered by Kevin Ross. Do you believe in slumps for receivers?
Come on.
You don't?
No. I mean, you don't go into slump. Mentally, you may lose confidence or whatever, but it's not like golf or baseball. There's not a swing involved. You just catch the ball. It's a big ball. Just reach up and catch it.
Well, why were you nodding approvingly when Parcells was saying he was in a slump last night? I should have challenged him.
I was trying not to laugh. I mean, wide receivers don't go in slumps.
It is a 2nd and 10. And now the draw from Meggett. So you're saying it's just one of those things?
Just one of those things. Just catch, you know, I mean, I can definitely see the pressure. I mean, they lose Michael Timpson. Kevin Turner's gone. There's more pressure on Vincent Brisbee, but, you know, pressure, you just have to handle that in the National Football League.
Had you ever been in a situation where you dropped several in a row?
No.
Whoa.
Several in a row. I've dropped, you know, a couple of balls maybe in a game, but 3 in a row, no.
It's a 3rd and 7 at the 36-yard line. And Zolak completed to Gash. Sam Gash with a rare appearance offensively. Jesse Tuggle made the stop right at the marker. Sam Gash yet to carry the ball this season. Made a big catch, though, in the game against Cleveland opening day. A 30-yard catch to help set up the winning touchdown. The Browns missing the call because of confusion. It is a first down for New England, their 6th of the day.
And really, but for that one big play in the ball game, the Patriots have struggled to get something going offensively, and Zolak needs to find that spark once again.
Curtis Martin. Tuggle and Matthews on the stop. Let's check in once again with Greg Gumbel.
All right, Marv, an update on the Shula Bowl in Cincinnati. Dan Marino to Eric Green, the free agent acquisition tight end, scores his first touchdown of the season. That's good for 8 yards. The Bengals have come back with a field goal. It's Don Shula 10, Dave Shula 10. Second quarter, Marv.
All right, Greg, 2nd down and 7 here in Atlanta. And a good play by Roger Harper stopping Curtis Martin on that swing pass.
Tell you what, the Bengals playing the Dolphins pretty tough in that one. The Bengals now with the #1 ranked offense in the AFC, but I'm still surprised they're hanging in there with that team. I think the Dolphins are great. And Bill Parcells and the Patriots found out about those Dolphins as well.
That was back in week 2 as they were handcuffed by Miami. 20-3 up in Foxborough. 3rd down and 8. And Zolak's pass broken up by the hit of Alton Montgomery, ramming with Curtis Martin.
I like that. I don't know exactly what it was, but sort of the Arnold Schwarzenegger strut after the hit by Montgomery. Looked like this was a good throw by Zolak. Really can't drop it in there any better than that. And he pays for it. Yeah, that's the thing about being a receiver in this league. You might as well catch it because they're going to hit you anyway.
In theory, that sounds very sound. Eric Metcalf back for the punt from O'Neal. And Metcalf getting a good block, try to make the cut, hit down at the 18-yard line. 40-yard punt and a 3-yard return. Son Graham on the coverage. So we have 4 minutes and 10 seconds to go in this first half. Patriots with a 7-6 lead on the Falcons. Coming up next on most of these NBC stations, it'll be game 2 of our NFL doubleheader, and most of you will see Natron Means, Junior Seau, and the rest of the defending AFC champion San Diego Chargers as they travel to Three Rivers to face Phil Cowher's Pittsburgh Steelers. Check your local listings for the game in your area. Chris, I would think the officiating crew will be carefully counting the number of players on the field in that San Diego-Pittsburgh game.
And they'll probably sew their pockets shut.
Yes. First down at the 18 for Jeff George. And again, able to complete. J.J. Burton just shy of the first down. His second catch, Maurice Hurst on the tackle.
Boy, these are young legs. Watch J.J. Burton at the end of this play with this cut. Anybody else does that, they're in the hospital. I mean, that you just, on AstroTurf, you just don't do that to your body.
Well, the Falcons received a good spot. It is a first down at the 28-yard line. J.J. Burton, a favorite receiver of Joe Montana the last couple of years in Kansas City. Out of the shotgun. George throwing deep. He has Emmanuel wide open inside the 20-yard line. 52-yard pass play.
Oh, Terry Ray absolutely barbecued on the play in the secondary. You're going to see one of those out and up and then go kind of moves. And Terry Ray is going to bite all over this move. And that's it. He has no help deep. Easy big play completion. And Jeff George showing off the arm once again.
It is a first down at the New England 20-yard line. Off the play action. George. And it is broken up and nearly intercepted, but flags come flying. Ray on the coverage of Mathis.
You have to keep your brain under control out there. Terry Ray just got beat for the big play. Comes right back, wants to come up with a big hit, make a play, over anxious. It's going to cost his team again.
Terry Ray, as mentioned earlier, originally drafted by the
defense. Number 23, first down.
Ray's been having a big year so far, but you can't lose your head out there. You can't get mad and upset as a defensive back because wide receivers love it when that happens. You begin to overreact. That's exactly what happened to Terry there. He needs to get his emotions under control.
It is a first and goal down at the 9-yard line. George is 17 of 20, 165 yards. Patriots with a 7-6 lead on the Falcons. George for the end zone. Pass intended for Emmanuel, covered by Law.
And now for the Falcons, another challenge for them to see if they can get in the red zone. It's really something that I don't think NFL teams spend enough time doing. In general, offenses are very capable of going between the 20s, but when you get inside here, especially with a run and shoot offense, the field just shrinks and there's so many more bodies in that secondary, or it feels like there is.
Second and goal at the 9. Here's Haley inside the 5, and he is in for the touchdown. Ironhead Hayward with a burst past the left corner. Ricky Reynolds to give Atlanta the lead.
Great call by June Jones that time to come out. Everyone looking past. You've got 6 defensive backs on the field, and they were no match for the big guy once he broke into the secondary.
And the Falcons are going for 2 with a 12-7 lead.
Man coverage, watch for the picks.
They are 1 for 1 in their previous 2-point conversion attempt. George has the 2-point, completing with Mathis.
You almost knew where he was going. Terrence Mathis' favorite target in clutch situations. That time Vernon Lewis absolutely no match. And when you get down in man coverage against this offense and these quick wide receivers, almost impossible to stop them. A little surprised they tried to do that in man coverage. Everyone looking pass. Ironhead breaks into the secondary, and defensive backs just bounce off of him. And then Terrence Mathis one-on-one. Jeff George audibling to that. Here's one more look at the touchdown. Myron Guyton, who's a good tackler, had no chance to pull him down. Look at this. That's just that's a gimme. In this league, that's an absolute gimme. Inside technique by the defensive back. You just flip it out there. It really can't be any easier than that.
And it was Terrence Mathis, the recipient of a pass from Jeff George on the previous 2-point conversion this season by Atlanta. 2 minutes 22 seconds remaining in this first half, and Atlanta now leading New England 14-7. Morton Anderson will kick it away to Troy Brown and Dave Meggett. Troy Brown had a good game on kickoff returns a couple of weeks back against the 49ers. Played by Meggett out across the 15. And taken down as he crossed the 20-yard line. So Scott Zolak and the offense back out of the field. For those of you who may have just tuned in, as we discussed earlier, Jay Barker, rookie from Alabama, is the number 2 quarterback for the Patriots. Drew Bledsoe, coming off the separated shoulder, is number 3.
I just don't ever see Jay Barker getting in this game. If something were to happen to Zolak, you have to believe that Drew Bledsoe would be warming up.
Barker activated from the practice squad. And Zolak nearly put it in the hands of Darryl Talley. It was intended for Vincent Frisbee. He did not see Talley.
But he did see big Chris Dolman, who was coming around the corner and knocked Zolak silly just as he was getting rid of the football. Great matchup over there. Bruce Armstrong, who's one of the better tackles in football, really struggling now against Chris Dolman. And that's what made Zolak throw that ball early. And Darryl Talley just hit him right in the hands.
Second down and 10. And they go to the draw, and Meggett is bottled up at the 25-yard line by Dolman and Tuggle. 2 minutes remaining in the half. We'll be back in Atlanta after this.
Darryl Talley, not the happiest guy in the world when he was forced out of Buffalo. They didn't give him a contract, but he was not unhappy with the fans. As a matter of fact, took out a newspaper ad, spent $2,800 just to say thanks. He thought that he was always treated great in the Buffalo area and just wanted to pass that along to the fans.
Darryl Talley spent 12 seasons with Buffalo, signed with Atlanta as a free agent, led the Bills in tackles last year. A very experienced linebacking core with Atlanta. Talley at 35 years of age. Clay Matthews, 39. Jesse Tuggle, the youngster, at age 30.
The baby. Yeah, but the one thing that Darryl Talley told us, though, about being in Buffalo, he said, all losing the Super Bowls and all that stuff, he said, we always stuck together. No matter what happened, Scott and Ola, we always stuck together. And it's unfortunate with free agency that those sort of teams can't continue.
Patriots with a 3rd and 6 from the 26 to just, Zolak had it stripped, knocked away. Chris Dolman getting a hand on it, and it's recovered by the Falcons. So Scott Zolak seeing quite a bit up close and very personal from Chris Dolman, who has been in his face.
Now remember, Bruce Armstrong at left tackle, one of the very best at his position, and he cannot handle the speed move from Dolman. We saw him last week with Boomer do the exact same thing, knock it out of Boomer Esiason's hands. So quick, so athletic, defensive player of the year a couple years back with the Vikings. And boy, what a job he has done this year. Not good at all last season because of the injury, but a sensational year so far.
Dolman with the strip and the recovery. The Atlanta Falcons first down at the New England Patriots. 19-yard line, the short set by George Emmanuel after the bobble over the hang on, taking inside the 15. That is already his 5th reception of the day. The combination of Ray and Law make the stop. It'll be a 2nd down and 4 at the 13.
I always thought that those kind of catches should count as 2 catches on your stats.
Yes, thinking as a receiver would. And a 25 remaining in the half. George to the end zone. Intended for Emmanuel. Again, Law right with him.
Yeah, and Ty Law is having a nice game out here so far. He is beginning to exhibit some of the qualities that made him the #1 pick. And for Scott Zolak, he's played fine. He just can't get the time to throw the football. Drew Bledsoe trying to tell him, yeah, I know the feeling. I've been getting pounded out there too.
And apparently Bert Emanuel on the follow through ended up in the runway and may have been shaken up. There he is. And here's it from the crowd. All right, take a look at this.
You know, this is like that play. Who was that? Flipper Anderson with the Rams that just sort of caught the touchdown and just kept right on going.
That was at Giants Stadium against the Giants, and Bert Emanuel did make the catch, but kept going.
Yeah, well, sometimes it takes you a while to slow down.
It'll be a 3rd down and 4 at the 13-yard line. Atlanta with 1 timeout remaining. New England has its 3 timeouts left with 1:21 to go in this first half. There's Atlanta head coach June Jones, the guru of the run and shoot. 2nd season as head coach of the Falcons. Long-time NFL assistant who at age 41 was promoted to replace Eric Glanville here in Atlanta.
The draw is there based on this defense. They have room to do it again.
Hayward the lone deep back. George has the pass knocked down. And it brings up a 4th down and 4. And Morton Anderson returns to the scene. He is hit from 54 and 34. This will be a 30-yard attempt.
And Scott Zolak relieved to see they're only going to get 3 points out of this instead of 7. That keeps you in the football game. Don't want to go in at halftime down 21-7.
Yes, this drive started on the strip of Zolak by Dolman. And Anderson once again make it a 31-yard field goal from Morton Anderson, and the Falcons extend to a 17-7 lead with 1:14 left in the 2nd quarter.
You know, kickers, they always want to be sort of tough guys. They just go out and kick. So now you got the punter and the kicker headbutting, and you know that's. Let's make a sitcom out of that one.
Well, coming up at the half, the Domino's halftime report. Greg Gumbel, Joe Gibbs, Mike Ditka back at our New York studio. An update on the condition of the injured Rod Woodson as Ahmad Rashad will sit down with the Steelers All-Pro cover man to discuss what Woodson feels his chances are of returning to action this season. That's the Domino's halftime report coming up right here on NBC. Morton Anderson has been perfect with his kickoffs. Corey Brown, Dave making it back, but this one on the ground and scooped up by Megan. Across the 30. And bumped out across the 35-yard line. A penalty marker is down. Kevin Ross with the hit on Dave Meggett. Well, the call against the Patriots.
Patriots with 3 timeouts remaining, really plenty of time, and the momentum has clearly shifted to the Falcons. I think you have to take your shot even with Zolak here.
Holding during the return. Number 26, 10 yards, first down.
Backup running back Corey Kroon called for the penalty. Earlier we were discussing New England's penalties last year, committing the second fewest in the league behind the Chicago Bears. They're about on the same pace this year, but it's when you commit the penalties.
Absolutely.
And Zolak's pass caught, a high pass handled by Troy Brown. And it puts the Patriots in very fine field position off a 31-yard connection. Brown run out by Ron Davis.
And he really has become a factor the last couple of weeks. Troy Brown just sneaking underneath the coverage and really using the official there as a bit of a pick and taking off down the sideline.
And Zolak on the screen, but it does not work. Meggett hit for the loss by Tuggle. Zolak is now 10 of 14. He has a 2nd and 12 coming up. 10 of 14 for 154 yards. Timeout is taken by New England with 50 seconds remaining in the half.
And Marv, really so important now for New England to get something out of this drive. They need a field goal, better a touchdown. But the Atlanta Falcon offense, and more importantly, their defense, have really begun to take control of this game, and especially Chris Dolman with the pressure off the corner. They need to come up with about 20 yards here to have a legitimate shot from Matt Barr.
Well, the Patriots finally scoring a touchdown in the first quarter. They had gone 8 quarters coming into today without a touchdown, with only 1 TD over their first 3 games. But Atlanta able to come from behind, and they have a 17-7 lead. Zolak to the tight end, Ben Coates. And he is gang tackled Coates with only his first catch of the day. The clock is running. New England with 2 timeouts remaining. Atlanta has 1. And Kevin Ross shaken up. So an official timeout is taken. Down to 35 seconds in the half. Kevin Ross has been a factor in this first half, both from a strong safety position and in special teams play.
Yeah, and Jesse Tuggle, the inside linebacker, was telling us that Kevin Ross really has been the vocal leader of this defense. They really didn't have one of those outspoken kind of guys, and Kevin Ross has taken over that role. He had an interception last week, making 12 straight years now that he's intercepted at least 1 pass. He was a sensational player with the Chiefs, and just one of those good football players that manages to keep going even after 12 years.
Kevin Ross was a cornerback in Kansas City, and then moved to free safety last year at the strong safety position this season, and apparently is all right. It's a 3rd and 9 for the Patriots. The stat line on Zolak, 11 of 15, 157 yards, and he's been sacked twice. Threw it behind Meggett. With 29 seconds remaining in the half.
Marv, how many times are we going to see the official be a part of a game? Once again, that time Dave Meggett was running his route and had to get out of the way of the umpire, but it is not the official's fault. The umpire always walks up, he's standing still. It's Meggett's job to miss him, but I think Zolak saw the official and tried to throw it around it.
Well, we saw that in the game-winning interception, Kansas City and Oakland a couple of weeks back. Penalty flags are thrown. Recall the pick that led to the interception and the game-winning play by James Hasty of the Chiefs.
And Max Lane is really struggling over there, trying to get out in time to pick up Chuck Smith. He was talking about Chuck Smith yesterday, and he said, I don't mind playing against strong guys or fast guys, but Chuck Smith can do both. He can overpower you, he can run around you, and Lane, who Bill Parcells labeled as a thug, sort of a complimentary term. Well, yeah, it was complimentary coming from Bill, but he's in a tough spot there against Chuck Smith.
Neutral zone infraction, number 90. Defense, 5 yards, still 4th down.
Remember the new rule now. If the defensive guy gets into the neutral zone and forces the offensive man to move, it is now called on the defense. It's one of those close ones, but I think it was a good call. You really can't give that sort of advantage to the defensive guy. I like that new rule.
So a 4th down and 4 at the Atlanta 38-yard line. Well, they changed the spot to the 37. 29 seconds remaining in the half, and Atlanta leading New England 17-7. Zolak able to complete on a diving catch at the 25-yard line by Brisby.
And that time Bruce Armstrong at the left tackle position did a much better job there against Chris Dolman, and that's what allowed Zolak the time to get that pass off a little further down the field.
And New England takes a timeout. Patriots have 1 timeout remaining. 23 seconds to go. And a 1st down at the Atlanta 24-yard line.
Armstrong working on the left, but good overall protection all the way across the line. And anytime you give an NFL quarterback time to step up into the pocket, he's going to get good results. And Bill Parcells has his game plan going. But now this is a great situation for Zolak and the Patriots. You have 1 timeout remaining, so the entire field is available to you. Wouldn't be surprised to see them try and hit something over the middle, get as far down the field as you can, call your timeout, take a couple of shots into the end zone. If you don't make it, then kick the field goal. But the entire field open to the Patriots right now.
Will Moore flanked wide to the right. And the play is blown dead in the midst of the count by Zolak.
All right, Coates is going to jump off sides here, but he was not over the guy that jumped in the neutral zone, so this should be against the offense.
False start. Number 87. Moving prior to the snap. 5 yards. 1st down.
That neutral zone rule only applies when the guy over you is the one that jumps. If it's somebody on the other side of the line, then it's still procedure on the offensive guy.
So it sets it back to a 1st and 15 now at the 29. Zolak able to complete to Brisby, gets out of bounds to stop the clock at the 18-yard line. Terry Taylor on the coverage of Vincent Brisby. 18 seconds remaining in the half. Brisby with his 4th catch, 115 yards. He had that 72-yard pass play earlier.
I guess he's out of the slump now.
Yeah.
Probably going to see some kind of a slant now. Try and get the ball to one of your wideouts and get them running up the field. You still have the timeout if needed.
And a 2nd down 4. And it's completed to Brisby. Has the 1st down and some more. And again steps out, but a flag comes flying. Taylor and Harper wrestling Brisby out of bounds with 12 seconds to go in the half.
I think Vincent Brisby could hear Bill Parcells growling from the sideline when he started to take this ball back up inside. He was thinking touchdown, but then here comes Parcells. He's thinking of him in the films tomorrow. I better get it out and out of bounds here. Nice drive, though, put together by Scott Zolak. They have marched it right down the field. Still with the timeout.
Personal foul. 15-yard face mask. Number 24 defense. Half the distance to the goal. They put the ball on the 2-yard line. 1st down.
Well, that was Terry Taylor in the midst of the stop on Vincent Brisby. And so with 12 seconds left in the half, Patriots with a 1st and goal at the 2. Zolak to throw. Touchdown. Able to complete to Sam Gash, and that looked like it crossed up the Falcons.
I'm not sure, but Jesse Tuggle has his helmet off, and probably he got picked on the play. Man coverage on the outside, that meant that Tuggle had to try and cover the fullback Sam Gash, and my guess is he probably got picked.
Matt Barr will attempt the extra point. And that, folks, the first touchdown pass of the season for the New England Patriots. Drew Bledsoe, for the first 3 games in that department. Falcons now lead 17-14.
Tuggle on the right side of your screen, and there it is, the pickup by the inside receiver coming in there. So difficult to pick up by the officials, well executed by the Patriots. For Scott Zolak to do something that Drew Bledsoe has not done so far this year. Beautiful drive, great execution. Marv, some guys just have a knack for being able to sit on the bench for 3 years and then come in and lead their offense.
It has been an impressive first half of work for Scott Zolak. 15 of 20, 197 yards, 1 touchdown. That 2-yard pass play to Sam Gash in his 4th season out of Penn State, known as a hard-nosed blocker, and always thought of as a reliable receiver out of the backfield. Scott Zolak's dad certainly has to enjoy what he has seen in his first half. Scott, the last 2 years, have thrown only 10 passes. This only his 5th NFL start.
You know, it looks like such an easy job. You sit over there on the sideline and you wear the baseball hat and you're thinking this is the greatest job in America. You don't even have to play. And Parcells still jawing with somebody. Drew saying, I'm getting yelled at.
It's just a normal conversation.
I'm getting yelled at. I'm not even in the game.
O'Neal put it on the ground, handled by Metcalf, and he runs it out with 6 seconds remaining in his first half.
Go back to that last touchdown now. Watch the pick coming inside here on Jesse Tuggle, and that's what's going to set it up. He has man coverage working against Sam Gash, and that's why it was so easy. And Sam having a little trouble leaning that thing back in the end zone.
Down to 6 seconds to go in this first half. So impressive numbers in the half by both quarterbacks. Falcons will just run it out, and the crowd always reacts to that type of situation. So at the half, it's the Falcons 17 and the Patriots 14 here at the Georgia Dome. Now let's go to Greg Gumbel at our New York studios.
This is the Domino's Pizza NFL on NBC halftime report. Brought to you by Domino's Pizza. When it's gotta be great and it's gotta be now, it's gotta be Domino's.
All right, Marv, welcome back to our studios, everyone. Along with Mike Ditka and Joe Gibbs, I'm Greg Gumbel for scores and highlights as they stand right now. And let's begin with the game at Riverfront Stadium, the Shula Bowl. Don Shula versus son Dave. The Miami Dolphins at the break, leading the Bengals 13-10. There's Dave, who's 0-5 as an assistant and a head coach against his dad. Dan Marino to Randall Hill, just activated today for the first time this season. This is his first reception of the year. 58 yards to the Bengal 18. It set up Pete Stoyanovich field goal from 21 yards out and a 3-0 Dolphin lead. Miami driving here to Gary Clark, hit by Roger Jones. Andre Collins with the pick at the Bengals 12. And the Bengals capitalize right here. Play action. Jeff Blake to Carl Pickens. 3-yard touchdown. 7-3 Cincinnati. Dave says, way to go. Dad says, darn. Dan Marino comes back, though. Eric Green between 2 defenders for an 8-yard scoring strike. The Dolphins lead 10-7 at that point. And here's a look at the numbers of the quarterbacks here. Dan Marino, 12 of 20 for 219 and a TD and an interception. Jeff Blake, 8 of 17, 70 yards and 1 touchdown. You keep marveling at the way Jeff Blake plays this game.
I really do, and the numbers aren't good right now. 8 of 17 for 70 yards isn't very good, but I tell you what, they have a good offense. Bruce Kozler, since he's come back and run that offense, they're doing an outstanding job of moving the ball and scoring points. Now, this football team is going to be in this game all through this game. It's going to be a very close game, and I think Cincinnati has a good chance to win it.
All right, Mike, so it's a 13-10 Miami lead at halftime at RFK Stadium in Washington. Check out this score at the break. The Redskins lead Dallas by a 20-10 score. Troy Aikman strained a right calf muscle, and it is believed that he will not be back for the rest of the day. The Redskins with a 10-point lead at halftime, 20-10. In Indianapolis, the Colts hoping to hand the Rams their first loss of the season. The Colts lead it 14-10 at halftime. Marshall Faulk is having a whale of a day for Indianapolis. 9 carries, 127 yards, and 2 touchdowns. But Joe, you say the Rams have gotten away from what they do best today.
Well, they've had 5 rushes for 6 yards. they haven't run the football. They turned it over once also. It led to a touchdown. So they're out of sync.
That turnover was the first for the Rams this year. 14-10 Colts at halftime. New England at Atlanta at halftime, a game you're watching. The Falcons lead it by a field goal, 17-14. There's a touchdown pass there by Scott Zolak. Amazingly enough, Mike, the first of the year.
Well, it's unbelievable. You know, everybody's talked about what a great team the Patriots have when they have their first-string quarterback in. But Zolak now is 15 for 21, 197 yards, 1 TD, no turnovers. He's doing his part of it. If their defense steps up and does a part against the run and shoot in the second half, they're going to win this game.
Joe, Jeff George started this game 13 for 13. There's still a weakness in the pass defense for New England.
Well, I think for Parcells and New England, hey, the problem's been pass defense. When you look at this, you know, right now George is 17 for 21, 165 yards. That's not going to get it done.
All right, gentlemen. Meanwhile, in Carolina, Tampa Bay and the Panthers at halftime. The Bucs lead at 13-7. In New Orleans, the Eagles and the Saints at the Superdome. It's 6-3. Philadelphia. One baseball game to pass on to you in the American League. The New York Yankees leading Toronto in the 3rd inning by a 4-0 score. If the Yankees win, or should California lose to Oakland today, the Yankees are in postseason. We'll take a time out here, and when we return, we'll hear from Rod Woodson of the Steelers and check in with Will McDonough for some NFL news and notes, and we'll get to all of that right after this from your local station.
This is the Domino's Pizza NFL on NBC Halftime Report. Brought to you by Domino's Pizza. When it's gotta be great, and it's gotta be now, it's gotta be Domino's.
Welcome back, everyone. We'll hear from Rod Woodson in a moment, but first we get a second helping of Will McDonough's news and notes. Let's go back to Will in Atlanta. Will.
Thanks very much, Greg. The league trading deadline is only 9 days away, and people are wondering what's going to happen to tight end Keith Jackson, who is now the property of the Green Bay Packers, and Patrick Bates, who is the property of the Raiders. Keith Jackson has not played a game since the playoff game last year against San Diego, where he had 8 catches for over 100 yards. And his agent, Rashad, tells me he does not want to come back to football. He's going to retire off of that game. Says he has plenty of money, and he's going to be happy. Of course, this leaves Green Bay stuck for a second-round draft choice, which they gave to Miami for the right to get Jackson. Bates, who lives in Dallas, is back there and would like to play for the Cowboys. However, my understanding is there's nothing being done in the way of a trade so far. And, of course, like we said, the deadline is still 9 days away. Speaking of Dallas, Deion Sanders came in there Wednesday on a cane, threw it away Thursday, has already started jogging, and the Cowboy folks say he'll be ready to play before the month is over. Back to you, Greg.
All right, Will, thank you. Joe, if this is a negotiating ploy by Keith Jackson, time's running out on him, isn't it?
If he wants to play again, my experience has been, Greg, that players that sit out. I had Tony Peters and John Riggins that were at the top of their game, set out, and it was very tough for them coming back. As far as getting out of football with enough money, the only guy I know that did that was Mike Ditka.
Well, I guess Keith doesn't realize it's not about the money, it's about the love.
That's right, it's not about money. The featured game of our doubleheader is San Diego at Pittsburgh. Unfortunately for the Steelers, they're playing without Rod Woodson, who tore a ligament in his knee back in Week 1 and is out for at least the regular season. Ahmad Rashad spoke with Woodson.
You know, they had a swing pass out to Barry, and when I came up to tackle him, and I felt my knee shift. It didn't hurt at all. I just felt it shift. I laid on the ground, and as I was laying on the ground, I was just saying, don't be my ACL. Don't be my ACL. Come on, get up. Just don't be my ACL. Stood up. I knew it was my ACL because my leg was shifting a little bit.
Well, not only did you look at the replay of the injury, you also, when you got the operation, you made sure that you were awake so you could watch them work on your knee?
Well, you know, Dr. Stedman is a great doctor out in Vail, Colorado. But I wanted to make sure he knew what he was doing, like I knew what he was doing. But I wanted to see, really. I didn't want to see. You know, it's interesting. We were talking the whole time. I was a little out of it, but we were talking. He was telling me what was going on. He took my patella tendon out. I told him I wanted to see it, and he showed me my patella tendon before he put it back in. And it was interesting.
Now, you also told Bill Cowher to leave you on the active roster because you thought you might be able to come back?
You know, everybody that you talk to is saying, you know, you'd be crazy trying to come back this year. And, you know, that's, you know, their opinion. You know, I'm a person, I'm an optimist. I like to go against the odds anyway. You know, they didn't think I would have the range of motion. I already have my range of motion. It's been 2 weeks, and you know, I can almost touch my heel on my buttocks already. If I'm ahead of my program, I don't know. It's only been 2 weeks. When you do accelerated rehab, it's anywhere between 4 to 6 months. You can come back, depending on the person. And 4 months is right at the end of December, beginning of January, right in the playoff. If we, you know, if you win the division or whatever, if you can be the wild card or get a week off, it'd be great if we got a week off at home field advantage. You know, that'd be even better for me.
Wouldn't it be better to just take the year off, strengthen that leg up, and come back next year?
It probably would. It probably would, but I'm hard-headed. So I'm gonna try it. And but if you know, if I go out there and once I start running and you know in 3 months and stuff of that nature, and it doesn't feel good, I wouldn't go out and play. I'm not that crazy.
How tough is it watching every week?
It's tough. You know, I'm at home the last 2 weeks, and you know, seeing the guys play, and you know, especially the Monday night game. It's a big game, national televised game, and you know, and my wife made me a nice little snack. I couldn't even snack. I'm nervous, you know, and I'm shaking like I'm on the football field still. You know, got the adrenaline going, everything. I want to play, but I can't because I'm on the couch. So, you know, I'm one of the Monday evening quarterbacks nowadays, sitting on the couch going, "Oh, come on, guys, why you do that?"
Rod Woodson, as valuable a guy as he is, Mike, wouldn't you want him to take the whole year off and make sure that he's strong for next season?
You know, I got to say what he said. I guess I'm a little crazy, too. I'd want him back if I could get him back, because right now the Steelers need him very badly. First of all, they can't play those blitz defenses without him on the corner. He's just a good football player, but the Steelers better get their offense on track. If they don't get the offense on track, they won't have any reason to bring him back.
And Joe, you miss a Rod Woodson in a lot of places, don't you?
A lot of different ways. You miss him in man coverage, as Mike points out, because it changes their whole style of defense. I think you also miss him in the locker room from a leadership standpoint. And then I think another very important point, and something this guy really adds to the team, is the return man and special teams. You miss him there also.
All right, gentlemen, no Rod Woodson, but the Steelers host the San Diego Chargers in the game most of you will see at 4 o'clock Eastern Time. And our NFL on NBC halftime activities continue.
Back in Atlanta, Marv Albert with Cris Collinsworth as we head to the second half. The Atlanta Falcons with a 17-14 lead on the New England Patriots, and a very sharp first half for both quarterbacks. Scott Zolak coming out of the bullpen for the injured Drew Bledsoe, 15 of 20, 197 yards, and Jeff George, 18 of 24, 171 yards. In fact, completed his first 13 passes at one stretch. Let's check out some of the other stats. A look at the Coors Light halftime statistics and things on the even side.
Yeah, and the one that really sticks out, the rushing yards for the Atlanta Falcons after back-to-back 100-yard days for Ironhead Hayward. He has not had much of an opportunity, but really both quarterbacks have been so hot, why take it out of their hands?
And we're set for the kickoff to get this second half underway as Pat O'Neill tees it up. Roel Preston, Jamal Anderson are back deep. And it's taken by Preston. Out across the 10. And dropped at the 15-yard line. Terry Ray on the stop. And the Atlanta Falcons, 1st and 10 from the 14-yard line. Atlanta with a record of 3-1. The 3-1 start, their best since they started at 4-0 back in 1986. They are gunning for a 3rd straight win. Last Sunday they beat the Jets in a, I would have to say, Chris, a totally unattractive game. Not tantalizing football. We were here to call the action. It was a delightful afternoon.
Easy on the word action.
Although June Jones said winning ugly is better than the alternative. And it is Hayward for perhaps a yard.
And really, Al Groh, the defensive coordinator, has been guessing run pass. And you see there Bob Whitfield, number 70, coming out and working against Vernon Lewis, but they're playing 6 in the box, and that is supposed to trigger an automatic pass. There's Al Groh, the defensive coordinator. When you have 6 in the box, generally run and shoot teams pass, but that time the Falcons tried to run into it, and there really was nowhere to go.
2nd and 9 for Jeff George. Third quarter just getting underway. Taylor on the draw. Across the 20, met by the left defensive end, Tim Roberts, who is a native of Atlanta, attended Burrell High School here in Atlanta, signed as a free agent from the Houston Oilers.
And Bill Parcells is really happy with him. He pointed him out as one of the bright spots on this team. And last season, the critics said the Patriots didn't have any lateral movement on the defensive line. Parcells said it didn't matter when they were lying on their back whether they had lateral movement or not.
3rd down and 3 at the 21. And the whistles blow the play dead. Referee is Tom White.
False start. Number 62 offense, moving prior to the snap, 5 yards, 3rd down.
That is the right tackle, Dave Richards, who has moved past Lincoln Kennedy. He has been the starter the last few weeks in an offensive line that has been dramatically shuffled from week to week. Mike Zandowski is back. Robbie Tobeck starting at center for the injured Roman Fortin. 3rd and 8. George in trouble. Throwing on the run, and it's dropped. Good effort by Terrence Mathis, but could not hold on.
And Mathis may have been banged up on the play after he made the diving effort. But that may be one of those embarrassment limps as much as anything. He made a nice try, good layout. I think the Patriots sort of faked out. That's a tough catch.
Oh, yeah.
I think the Patriots faked out Jeff George. He thought they were coming with the blitz and sort of hustled out of the pocket.
The punt from Dan Straczynski again gets it up high. Meggett from the 40. 44-yard punt and an 8-yard return. So the Patriots first down at the 48-yard line. New England Patriots with a record of 1-2. Beating Cleveland, losing to Miami, losing at San Francisco. Last week was a bye week. Next Sunday they're home for Denver, then play at Kansas City, followed by home games against Buffalo and then Carolina. Curtis Martin on a slant. They thought they had him, but he kept going. Kevin Ross got him out of bounds.
Curtis Martin started this game so well. The Patriots were ripping off runs of 6, 7, 10 yards, and then they got that one big holding call. And really, they have been unable to reestablish that running game since.
That time Martin picked up 4, 8 carries, 30 yards. He did score New England's first touchdown. Falcons 17 and the Patriots 14. 2.5 gone by in the 3rd. Zolak caught at the marker by Brisby. Stopped by Darnell Walker and a flag thrown.
Really, Zolak and Brisby seem to be connecting up pretty well in this ball game. Very comfortable together. Offsides against the Falcons.
Offsides. Number 56 defense. 5 yards. 2nd down.
Marv, that was a big opening stand there by the Patriots defense. You get the touchdown. Obviously, Chris Dolman there on the foul. But you get the touchdown right before the half to close to 17-14. You come out the first series of the second half, shut down the Atlanta Falcons, and you give your offense great field position. So momentum now back on the side of the Patriots.
2nd down and 1 at the Atlanta 43-yard line. And it appeared that New England was in the process of breaking the huddle, then some confusion, and they call for a timeout. We'll be back in a moment.
The NFL on NBC is brought to you by Mitsubishi, the new thinking in automobiles. By Wendy's Spicy Chicken Sandwich. Get it while it's hot. By AT&T, your true choice. And by Coors Light, shipped cold to preserve the clean taste of the Rockies. Coors Light, tap the Rockies.
Report on Terrence Mathis of the Falcons' sprained knee and could return as Curtis Martin gunning for the first down was stopped by Jesse Tuggle. And it appears that he did pick it up. Tuggle with his 9th tackle of the game.
Look at Terrence Mathis as he's trying to get it back together. He obviously a very important guy. That slot receiver in the run and shoot is the one that really makes this offense go. Going to take some time for a measurement. Now they're just going to give the first down now to the Patriots.
It is a first down at the 41-yard line. Atlanta Falcons 17, New England Patriots 14. 3 field goals by Morton Anderson, including one from 54 yards away. Zolak on a timing problem. Completing to Vincent Brisby. And it is incomplete. He was out of bounds. Covered by Darnell Walker.
Boy, just sloppy job of footwork here by Vincent Brisby. Just steps out of bounds. You just have to sort of collapse with that catch and make sure you have the catch. Ordinarily, that's a play Brisby will make.
Brisby with 5 catches, career high 123 yards. He had that one connection for 72 in the first half. Second down and 10. Meggett ramming his way to the 36-yard line. Scott Zolak making his 5th NFL start, and this is 5th season out of Maryland. He was the backup for Neil O'Donnell 1 year at Maryland. Very impressive crew from the Terrapins. Boomer Esiason, Stan Delvaughn, Neil O'Donnell, Frank Wright, and Scott Zolak. He was a starter at Maryland for only 1 season.
The Steelers really missing Neil O'Donnell right now, too.
3rd down and 4. On the play fake, Zolak couldn't find anyone, and he is stripped once again. Chuck Smith on the strip and recovered by the Falcons.
Oh, that's a terrible call. Chuck Smith got a hold of Zolak. At least take one more look at it, but it looked to me like Delball's arm definitely came forward, and the motion ended up just down towards the ground, but it was because Chuck Smith had him by the shoulder. That's incomplete. I mean, there's no question about it. The arm motion, you could tell he was trying to move the arm forward. Now, whether or not it's intentional grounding, that's a different story, but you know, at least in my mind, it looked like the arm was coming forward.
And for the second time today, the recovery made by Dolman. So the Falcons take over. George off the roll and then throws downfield and picked off. A bad throw by George, intercepted by Terry Ray. And he's submarine down, so the Patriots get it back. 23-yard return of the interception by the one-time Falcon, Terry Ray. 10:23 left. 3rd quarter. We'll be back in a moment.
Jeff George got his hand banged on the end of that play. They were working on him on the sideline, but you'll see Jeff looking left and then just looking right and throwing. You really never saw a receiver, Ferret Collins, right in his face, but no excuse for an NFL quarterback to do that. There was nobody even in the neighborhood. You see him looking left and picking up the receiver without really even checking the coverage. He's trying to get it to Metcalf. Just a horrible play.
So the Patriots take over. Curtis Martin gets the call, brings across the 45, met by Chris Dolman. 5 minutes gone by. In the 3rd quarter, they continue to check out what looks to be the left hand of Jeff George. That's the number 2 quarterback for the Falcons, Bobby Hebert, who was re-signed for another go as a backup here in Atlanta.
Made the Pro Bowl in '93, so he's a solid player.
2nd and 7. Zolak off the roll with a bullet that is almost intercepted on the deflection. Intended for Will Moore, who's been very quiet to this point.
Yeah, he really has been, and Will Moore almost came up with a good catch, and Jeff George in some obvious pain on the sideline. Now, it is his left hand, and he's right-handed, so you think no big deal, but you still have to be able to grasp the ball for the snap, make the handoffs, and do all those sorts of things. So be interesting to see if he can come back in the ball game.
And he's been battered pretty good the last few weeks. Concussion, ankle sprain. Zolak to the other side and completes to Brisby, who has been his favorite receiver. It's a first down for the Patriots. Brisby doing it in front of the corner, Terry Taylor. 6th catch for Brisby for 137 yards. That's good for 13.
You know, sometimes quarterbacks just get comfortable with the receiver. Here you have man coverage again. The Falcons have been working a lot of man coverage. Terry Taylor on the outside, and there are just days that all of a sudden that one guy looks like you know, you're comfortable with him. He's going to go back again and again. They may start shifting the coverage over there towards Brisby.
First down at the Atlanta 43-yard line. Curtis Martin trying to get some pop. Short pickup again. Jesse Tuggle making the stop. And the word we've received from the Atlanta sideline, they are applying ice to the left hand of Jeff George, and the Falcons say they expect that he will return.
And Jeff George proved his toughness, if you will. I use that term loosely, coming back from a concussion a couple of weeks ago against the Saints.
2nd down and 5, and Martin taken down at the 40-yard line.
No, but Marv, that's what we were talking about a little bit earlier in the ball game. Jeff George against the Saints a couple of weeks ago sustains a mild concussion and comes back and wins the ball game, and all of a sudden he's a hero. But do you really take? Oh, there's Ben Coates down now for the Patriots.
A timeout is called. We'll be back in a moment.
So many injuries in the league happen just like this. Ben Coates blocking on the run. Lester Archambault is going to come around, get swung around on the tackle, go right onto the back of the legs of Ben Coates, and it's that left knee that is going to be the problem.
Ben Coates has not been a primary target. Whether the Falcons have taken Coates away or whether Zolak is not looking in that direction, hard to tell, but only one catch for Coates. It's a 3rd and 7 at the 40. Zolak completing, but short of the first down. Jesse Tuggle put the helmet in on Troy Brown and did not allow Brown to pick up the additional 2 yards.
Boy, tough call now. I think you have to go for it on 4th down, probably outside the range of Matt Barr at this point in his career. His long this season, 43 yards, and here come the big guys for Bill Parcells.
It's a 4th and 2. It would be a 52-yard field goal attempt for Barr. 4th down and 2, and Zolak picks up the first down. Beautiful catch by Sam Gash, who is certainly involved in the offense.
And does that play look familiar? The exact same play that they scored the touchdown on earlier. You come back 4th down and 2, and for Sam Gash, maybe erasing a few of the memories of Kevin Turner. Gutsy call by Bill Parcells, but a good call.
That's the 8th play of the drive, and a first down at the Atlanta 31. 3-point lead for the Falcons halfway through the 3rd quarter. Zolak looking deeper and overthrows. That sailed over the head of Brisby, was covered by Walker.
That's the worst throw we've seen out of Scott Zolak today. Brisby was wide open, had completely turned around Darnell Walker, and Zolak just completely missed the throw.
It'll be a 2nd and 10 at the 31-yard line. Zolak is 18 of 26, 219 yards, and he's thrown for 1 touchdown. Oh, hole for Leggett. Leggett inside the 15 and run out at Allison Meggett goes for 21.
There's the Dave Meggett we're used to seeing. And watch Roger Harper, number 47. He is going to be absolutely frozen in his tracks. That's about as badly as a defensive back can be beaten on a run play. And for Dave Meggett, he's beginning to get that feel again. Used much more in this game than he's been all season.
8 carries, 47 yards, first and goal at the 10. John Burke is in at the tight end position. Martin for a couple. Stopped by Gardner. Let's check in with Greg Gumbel in our New York studio.
All right, Marv, in Cincinnati, the best pitch and catch combination for touchdowns in the AFC. Jeff Blake to Carl Pickens. This is a 44-yarder. Great catch by Pickens in the end zone. His second of the day. 17-16. Dave Shula leads Don. 4 minutes to play in the third, Marv.
All right, Greg, and here's 6:20 left, third quarter. Atlanta with a 3-point lead. New England driving, 11th play of the drive following the interception. Zolak to the end zone. Incomplete, intended for Brisbee, was covered by Darnell Walker.
Very lucky they were not picked off that time. Walker played a soft coverage. They were looking for bump and run on the outside, and honestly a ball that Zolak should not have thrown here. Walker with his head back around, a ball that could have easily been picked. Should have just thrown that one out of the end zone. Lucky that time.
It'll be a third and goal at the 8. Brisbee to the left. Zolak to the end zone. And that went high, and Brisbee arguing that he was interfered with by the free safety, Roger Harper.
May have been a little bumping going on, but the worst series that we've seen out of Zolak so far. He missed about 3 different throws here, and it looked like wasn't completely comfortable with the coverage there by Brisbane. May have just been throwing that ball away.
So Matt Barr will come on to attempt from 26 yards away, hoping to tie the game. Barr 5 for 6 on the season. 26-yard field goal attempt. And he's tied it at 17. 6 minutes left in the third. We'll be back here in Atlanta after these words. 6 minutes remaining, third quarter. Marv Albert, Cris Collinsworth at the Georgia Dome in Atlanta. The Patriots and Falcons tied at 17. The kick from O'Neal, handled by Preston. The rookie Roel Preston looking to pick his way, but hammered as he crossed the 15-yard line. And Jeff George, who injured his left hand, had some ice put on it, is apparently all right as he heads back onto the field.
Yeah, it was interesting in talking with Jeff, and it's like he may have hurt one of those fingers. They've got them taped together. But I asked him after that Saint game when he came back in after the concussion if he felt like he had to prove how tough he was to his teammates. He said, Chris, I've been hit more than any quarterback in the league during the course of my career, and that was true in Indianapolis. He really took a pounding, so he feels like he doesn't have to prove anything to anybody.
Starting from the 17-yard line. George with a shovel for Hayward. And has a first down. Jeff George hanging in the pocket, hanging, and then saw he did not have anyone. Flipped it to Ironhead, who was able to run it for the first down.
Always the first question about a quarterback when he gets dinged on the prior play. Will he stay in the pocket? That time Jeff George did. A clever little flip out there to Ironhead. You just see more creativity, more comfort in the pocket from Jeff George than you ever saw during his days with the Colts.
First down for Atlanta at the 31-yard line. Well, the 5th catch of the day for Hayward. And he bloops it over Hayward, but this time he is taken down at the 31-yard line. Terry Ray among several Patriots to make the stop.
And that time they came with the blitz off the corner, which forces a Q or a hot situation for Jeff George. There's nobody there to block him. Without the tight end and the run and shoot, not as many protection options. So Jeff George really with no choice there but just to flip it out.
2nd and 9. 4.5 remaining in in the third. The game is tied at 17. Short set by George, and the pass incomplete. Bert Emanuel could not come up with it. Covered by Ty Law.
Big Bob Whitfield, the left tackle for the Atlanta Falcons, and born with a birth defect, really has almost no vision whatsoever in one of his eyes, and you can see the shield that he was forced to wear even since his high school days. They wouldn't even let him play high school football without that shield. They were so worried about protecting the other eye, and boy, he's been a sensational player.
Bob in his 4th season out of Stanford. 3rd and 9. Look out. The corner blitz. Ricky Reynolds coming fast. Able to get to Jeff George.
And one of the problems that you have with the run and shoot offense, they always want to play those slot receivers in tight to the offensive line, and that's what gives these corners right here a chance to come in here. See, there's where the receiver is, and there's really no way to account for that for the offensive line. There's nobody there to block. So Ricky Reynolds comes in and gets the easy sack.
And the first sack of the day for New England. And Straczynski with the punt. Penalty flag is down. Catch made out of bounds by Meggett. 42-yard punt.
First down, New England from the 33.
Bill Parcells last night raving about the kicking of the combination of Morton Anderson and Dan Straczynski. It's been a terrific start for Straczynski.
Looks like they're going to come back.
Illegal formation. 86 not up on the line of scrimmage. 5 yards, still 4th down.
And we'll get an opportunity to see Dan Straczynski do his work once again. Well, 2 of the great ones in terms of the punt return game are on the same field today. Dave Meggett, Eric Metcalf among the all-time leaders in punt returns for touchdowns.
And they really need a breakout run by Meggett. He has not had a big play from the punt return position so far.
Now Straczynski from his 5. Once again gets the hang time. Meggett at the 40-yard line. Looked to be some confusion. I did not see the indication for a fair catch. And then he was taken down. No return. A 40-yard punt by Straczynski. Well, there is Scott Zolak in his first start of the season, taking over for Drew Bledsoe, who happens to be a very close friend of Scott. During the week, they both come to work very early. They study and watch films together. And we talked about that last night with Scott Zolak.
We're really good friends. We're tight, and it's a situation where we come in early every morning, 2 hours before the meetings, and we start doing our film work. And Drew's a starter, and he has the clicker that holds, that controls the film that we're looking at. And we're sitting there Tuesday of this week, and he said, "Gee, I guess you get the clicker this week." I said, "Yeah, give me that thing." So I took it, and I said, "Here's a clipboard. You chart the plays." So.
And that's what you have to do on the sideline if you're Drew Bledsoe. You can put the hat on and you twirl the ball on your finger. And Zolak probably had to work with him a little bit in order to get him to master that. And it was fun talking to him yesterday. You could tell he was excited. And he said, after 3 years, I forgot what it was like to get ready for a game that I was going to play. And I'm pumped up. I'm emotional. I'm excited about it. And he's done a super job in this one.
In a similar situation 3 years ago when Zolak took over for Hugh Millen, also had suffered a separated shoulder, but he was out for 6 weeks. A little different story in terms of Bledsoe's status. Frisbee is stopped by Darnell Walker. In fact, Drew Bledsoe is the 3rd quarterback, and as we mentioned earlier, in the 4th quarter or in overtime, let's say twist on the old rule concerning the 3 quarterbacks. The number 2 man is the rookie from Alabama, Jay Barker. But in the 4th quarter or overtime, if the 3rd quarterback, being Bledsoe, comes on for the first time, both of the other 2 quarterbacks do remain eligible. Meggett is stopped. So the Falcons doing a good job these first 2 downs of this series with just under 3 minutes to go in the third quarter. The game is tied at 17, and the Patriots looking at a 3rd down and 8.
I'm glad you got to explain that rule. We've been working on that for a couple hours up here. But basically, Drew Bledsoe could come in the game and Zolak could come back in if it didn't work out or he got hurt.
Zolak got the time and was able to complete a gift to Brisby for the 1st down. Brisby doing a number on Walker. 8th catch of the day, 150 yards for Vincent Brisby.
And really, Brisby has been owning Darnell Walker. I assume that D.J. Johnson has re-injured the hamstring because Walker really has not been very slick out there in the corner, and you have to believe that D.J. Johnson would be in there if healthy. And that is a big, big blow with D.J. Johnson, the former Steeler, being out of the lineup. And obviously, the result has been a big day for Brisby.
And a 1st down at the Atlanta 45. Armstrong. Meggett covered by Tuggle, not able to hang on.
We just got the word that D.J. Johnson has re-injured that hamstring and will not be back in the ball game. So Darnell Walker, number 45 for the Falcons, is going to see a lot of action. You would expect that. There's DJ right there, who's really struggled with that hamstring injury, the free agent a couple years ago. And his loss has been significant for the Falcons.
Walker, a 3rd-year man from Oklahoma, was a starter last year on 5 occasions. Curtis Martin putting on some moves, but well short of a 1st down. Chuck Smith got the wraps on Martin along with Darryl Talley.
And the Patriots once again down in 4-down territory. They are not even close to Matt Barr range here. But field position so important. They've begun their drives at the 48, 43, and 38. Need to take advantage of it here. They've had their chances.
3rd and 7 at the Atlanta 42. Zolak facing pressure. Floats one. He was throwing it away with Graham covered closely by Taylor. And the punting team comes onto the field. Pat O'Neill will punt for the 4th time. Eric Metcalf dropping back. 1:21 left in the 3rd quarter. The Patriots and the Falcons tied at 17.
Parcells working on Zolak on the sideline, obviously not liking that last read.
O'Neill trying to angle it, and the fair catch is handled at the 10-yard line. A 32-yard punt for O'Neill. Well, tonight here on NBC, a brand new night of comedy. First at 7, 6 Central, Brotherly Love and Minor Adjustments. And then at 8, 7 in the Central Time Zone, Paul Reiser, Helen Hunt, starring in an all-new Mad About You, followed by Hope and Gloria. Big night of TV. Must-see comedy right here on NBC.
Now the Falcons really have to get something going offensively. They have to take their defense out of this hole.
They start from the 10. George, a bullet, and picked off by Maurice Hurst, who runs it in for the touchdown. But a penalty marker is down. Hurst wrestled away from Burton.
And there is a flag thrown right at the point where the interception was made. This is going to be one tough call on Maurice Hurst. But they call it back. You have to give the defensive back a chance for the football. You have to let him go in there and be able to make a play, even if there is some incidental contact. And at least according to Jeff George, this is going to be pass interference against Maurice Hurst.
Pass interference, number 37 defense. First down.
Both players have a right to the football, and just because you collide along the way, take a look. That's a horrible call. That is absolutely a horrible call. Maurice Hurst just simply playing the ball, broke in front, should have been a touchdown for the Patriots.
And the New England Patriots continue to be hit by some critical penalties. Atlanta maintaining possession, first down at the 17, the draw for Hayward. And he's able to pull his way for the first down across the 30-yard line. A 13-yard advance for Craig Hayward, taken down by Guyton and Ray.
Go back to the play once again from the other side. I mean, that is, Marv, that's as bad a call as I've seen in some time. And it's one that may just turn this football game completely around. Maurice Hurst didn't knock him off the ball. He just simply went straight to the football, made the interception. Should have been a touchdown.
Atlanta first down at the 32-yard line. And George completing for another first down. Darrell Spencer with the catch. And then submarine, a 21-yard pickup. Ty Law on the stop.
And now the momentum has completely gone the other way. Spencer with a nice catch, held on, diving forward, gutsy play. He's fired up. And this game now has been turned by the referee's call.
Darrell Spencer playing for the injured Terrence Mathis with only a second catch of the season. Back after this from your local station.
The interception once again. Maurice Hurst, his eyes turned towards the quarterback, has every right to that football. It's not even close. It honestly is not even close.
Well, we're on to the fourth quarter. The game tied at 17. Hayward inside the 45-yard line. When the call was first made, Bill Parcells was watching very calmly and then checked the video replay screen, and you can see him then have his words with the official during the break between the third and fourth quarter. But that could be the play of the game.
Yeah, but defensively now the Patriots have to shake it off. I mean, they just now have to say, you know, it happened. We've got to make some plays because they've had a letdown since that happened.
Second down and 7. Hayward. He is close to the first down marker. Ricky Reynolds on the stop. 9 carries, or rather 9 receptions, 47 yards for Hayward.
Remember what Ricky Reynolds was telling us yesterday? He said, I went home and told my wife that we were playing against Ironhead Hayward, and she said, oh, no, not him again. It just scares the wives to death when you have to play against this guy.
Even though he's slimmed down to 250.
Oh.
It's a third and about a yard. Game tied at 17. The fourth quarter just underway. A swing. Metcalf. And he is stopped short of the first down. Ricky Reynolds on the stop.
Boy, amazing. You get third down and an inch, and you throw a flanker screen, and they did not pick up the first down. You got a 250-pound back in the backfield, and you're going to flip it outside and do some convoluted play. Now a huge fourth down, and they're going to leave Morton Anderson on the bench.
Fourth and less than a yard. Hayward is the lone deep back. They have the tight end Lyons in there. And Hayward has the first down. This time, no question about it.
Well, that's a nice thing. Sometimes as a coach, you get to make up for your own mistakes. You get a guy 250 pounds and his name's Ironhead. You know, I'm not a genius, but that would have been option A for me. A couple of guys down on the field for the Falcons, and their offensive line's been banged up enough. So maybe Bob Whitfield, who is their fine tackle. 2 guys down.
Yes, this is a line that has been shuffled right throughout. Looks like Gene Williams, the left guard, is hurt. The starting center, Roman Fortin, sitting it out today. Robbie Tobeck, the center, with Fortin bothered by a sprained ankle. Mike Zendowski back from the knee problem. That's Williams, the one-time Dolphin, one-time Brown.
Yeah, he started 22 of 29 games for the Browns over the last couple of years, and he really helped the offensive line. But They're going to have to shuffle the line again.
The NFL on NBC is brought to you by Oldsmobile and your authorized Aurora retailers. By Sealy, posturepedic support only from Sealy. And by Pepsid AC Acid Controller. You can be heartburn-free with new Pepsid AC.
Marv Albert, Cris Collinsworth back at the Georgia Dome, and Drew Bledsoe throwing lightly on the sideline. But Gene Williams shaken up on that, more than shaken up on that last play, and replaced by Jeff Pelicola, 4-year man from the University of Washington, taking over at left guard. First down for Atlanta at the New England 34-yard. Big hole for Hayward. Surging inside the 25-yard line. Reynolds and Ray made the tackle. 13 yards and a first down for Ironhead Hayward.
And Algro trying to bring pressure off the corner. They also had an inside move by the defensive tackle Tim Roberts, and there's just nobody there. That's just a good call because it went right against the stunt.
And a first down at the 22, and Hayward has come on the ground after a slow start in the first half, but another fine all-around performance for Hayward. And here he is again. Picked up 2. It'll be a second down, and Troy Barnett, the right defensive end, on the tackle.
You know, Ironhead Hayward, really a great story. June Jones telling us yesterday that I called Ironhead into my office before the season got started, and I said, Ironhead, this is your last chance.
What does he call him, Iron or Ironhead? This is
I'm not sure. You know, or Head. Sometimes they just call him Head.
Exactly.
But he said, this is it for you. If you don't lose the weight, if you don't get down to 250 pounds, you're going to be off the team. And Ironhead did it. They paid him $100 grand to do it, and he's maintained that level.
That's a bonus in the contract for weight loss. And Hayward on the reception, tripped up. Down to the 15, Ricky Reynolds on the stop. Game is tied at 17, 10:45 remaining in this fourth quarter.
It's like J.J. Burton may have been banged up from the play, limping like an ankle injury. Maybe see if we can pick it up. Just a hard cut got him.
This drive began back at the Atlanta 10. It's a 3rd and 1 at the 13. Hayward looks like he tried to angle his way. May have lost his footing.
And Ironhead just becomes such a load in the fourth quarter. You're tired, you're worn down, you're in there fighting, and this 250-pound guy just keeps hitting you.
The crowd and the Falcons looking for a favorable spot. Atlanta players indicating that it should be a first down.
Boy, it's a tough call for June Jones if this is not, and the referee's huddling. There must be something more going on than just the spot of the football.
It's a tough one because he turned his body and went down awkwardly.
You know what I bet they're talking about, whether or not anyone touched him so that he would have gotten the slide yardage forward for the first down. Otherwise, they're going to mark him back behind the first down marker. That's exactly what happened. They're saying that he was touched.
The ball is being moved back. The number 55 had touched him going through the line of scrimmage, therefore he was down by contact. He doesn't get the bounce. Please reset the game clock. 9 minutes, 50 seconds, 9:50.
They're saying Willie McGinnis got a touch on Ironhead. Like he was underneath the pile and tripped him up, so good call by the officials, and they didn't give the Ironhead bounce.
And then he tried to crawl
which would have been legal, which would have been a first down.
And that's what had the crowd going. So in a fourth down and about a yard, a 32-yard field goal attempt from Morton Anderson, who has hit 3 of 3 today from 34, 54, and 31. Seeking to put the Falcons in front with 9:50 to go in the fourth quarter. snap. And Anderson's kick is good. 4 of 4 from Morton Anderson. And it's Atlanta by 3.
The NFL on NBC is brought to you by Domino's Pizza. Call now and have Domino's deliver the ultimate deep dish pizza. Because when it's gotta be deep, it's gotta be Domino's.
We welcome you back to the Georgia Dome in Atlanta. Morton Anderson just a moment ago made it 4 of 4, hitting on a 32-yard field goal. He's 14 of 15 now for the season. And line drives it. Here comes Meggett. Out to the 20 with a burst to the 30. Beautiful kick return by Meggett. He goes 33 yards. Ron Davis on the tackle.
Don't forget that last field goal was set up by this call by the officials. Maurice Hurst with what looked like an interception for a touchdown.
The 32.
Ruled pass interference.
Instead, Atlanta kept the ball. They were able to drive the length of the field. Then were stopped in the 4th and 1 situation and settled for the field goal. Meggett with a short pickup. Gardner and Tuggle combining on the stop. Jesse Tuggle in double figures in the tackle department. It'll be a 2nd down and 8 at the 34-yard line with 9 minutes remaining in this 4th quarter. The Patriots hoping to even up the season record at 2-2. Atlanta Falcons gunning for their 3rd straight win, trying to make it a record of 4 up and 1 down. Scott Zolak that time changed his mind, and that was not what he had in mind on that pass.
No, and I think that Dave Meggett stopped when Zolak thought he was going to continue on his route. Meggett will be coming right at you out of the backfield, and when Meggett stopped, then Zolak tried to stop too. And honestly, Chris Dolman had a little something to do with that one as well.
3rd and 8. Zolak able to step up, and incomplete, intended for Meggett, who was covered by Montgomery.
And for whatever reason, Scott Zolak has lost a little bit of the magic here in the 2nd half. He was sailing along and making all the right reads and all the good throws, and Meggett had position, had a little running room at the end of this play, and just simply overthrown. Overly cautious there by Scott Zolak.
Now, Chris, we don't have all the medical information concerning Drew Bledsoe, but can you see the possibility of Bill Parcells going in that direction?
Just because of how important this game is to the Patriots.
Metcalf on the return. And a beautiful punt return by Metcalf, 32-yard punt. Metcalf runs it back for 11. Well, with the Colts in front of the St. Louis Rams, if Atlanta can hold on for the victory, they could be in a tie for first place by the end of the day. 8.5 remaining in this 4th quarter. Falcons with a 20-17 lead. Craig Hayward stopped by Ricky Reynolds, and we are set for an update. Let's go to Greg Gumbel.
All right, Marv, in Cincinnati, Carl Pickens again, his 3rd touchdown catch of the day, an 11-yarder. He leads the AFC in TD receptions with 7, 23-19. Bengals lead the Dolphins under 3.5 to play at Riverfront, Marv.
All right, Greg, and I know your former club surprising even you, Chris.
Absolutely. Boy, but Carl Pickens, I think it's like 10 straight games now he's got a touchdown pass.
2nd down and 8 at the 46-yard line. Jordan couldn't find anyone. He was looking for the swing, looking for Hayward. It was well covered by Vincent Brown. And it brings up a 3rd down and 8. We're told J.J. Burden is through for the rest of the game. You saw him come up hobbling on the last series. He has a strained hamstring. Terrence Mathis has not returned from a knee problem, and he is out the rest of the way. And now Gene Williams, who hurt his right knee, will not return, replaced by Jeff Pawakola. Tough day for the Atlanta Falcons physically. 3rd and 8. The screen for Hayward. Has a blocker. Ironhead Hayward cutting inside the 35-yard line. Stopped by Terry Ray. That's a 20-yard advance. 8 catches, 66 yards for Hayward.
And they're going to come off the corner, all the pressure, and Jeff George is going to dump it right over the top. The perfect call against that blitz. Nobody out there to cover. Absolutely no one out there. In the scheme of the defense, you have to at least anticipate they might read it and leave someone back there to cover Ironhead, because they've been going to him all day.
And a first down at the 34-yard line. Tight end in motion. 86. Mitch Lyons lining up on the left side. And deep, and it's dropped. Darrell Spencer had the 6.
Already you see the impact now of J.J. Burden and Terrence Mathis being out of the ball game. Darrell Spencer with a gimme touchdown. Maurice Hurst tried to get the bump and just ran right through it, did Darrell Spencer. I don't know what he was doing, trying to turn his hands over the top. He just turned them underneath and let it fall in your lap. Jeff George can't believe it. That's a gimme. That's a helmet thrower.
Yes, Darrell Spencer in his 2nd year out of Miami. Made a nice catch earlier. 2nd down and 10. Draw play. Hayward then takes it to the outside. Flag is thrown as Hayward reaches inside the 30. Reynolds on the stop.
Boy, oh boy, Darrell Spencer, you're not going to get many walk-in touchdowns in this league, but made the nice move and just laid it on the turf. Lonely feeling. Now, Marv, I have experienced a few of those.
Holding, 10 yards, number 61 offense, 2nd down.
That's the center, Robbie Tobeck, called on the hold, so they bring it back to the Patriot 44-yard line. That's a 2nd down and 20, and that's a damaging penalty.
Boy, it really is. Takes them out of field goal range, even for Morton Anderson.
Spencer is to the left side. And some confusion on the snap. George pulled away without the football.
Wouldn't be surprised if that one wasn't on Jeff George himself. Seemed that the center was fairly confident in what he was doing.
Number 1 pulling out early, 5 yards, still 2nd down. Please reset the game clock. 6 minutes, 25 seconds.
It's just hard to tell. There were a lot of linemen moving there as well, but at least the right guard was not. A lot of time, you know, Jeff George had that touchdown pass dropped. He got upset, emotionally not back together, and probably just lost his concentration there.
Crowd reacting. Final score posted that Washington knocked off Dallas 27-23. And the crowd cheering that victory by the Redskins over the Cowboys.
And our understanding was that Troy Aikman got knocked out of that ball game in the first half.
There is no infraction. All right, let's go here.
That's the best idea I've heard in a long time.
When we resume, it's a 2nd and 25 at the 49-yard line.
Need about 12 yards or so on the next 2 plays. 2nd down now, about 12 yards to give Morton Anderson a shot. But if he misses, you're going to give the Patriots great field position.
Atlanta with a 3-point lead. We're coming up on 6 minutes remaining in the 4th quarter. And George throwing deep. Too far for Burton Emanuel.
You know, I'm all for going down the field and taking your shots, and that's certainly worthwhile. But you would think for June Jones in this offense, they have to be thinking field goal at this point, and now they're down to 1 down. Jeff George is, like he's been all day, going to take a shot at the end of it. Patriots have had pressure, but they really haven't sacked him very much this afternoon.
But they have affected his play. 1 sack by New England in all. Remember, he started out by hitting his first 13 passes. Since then, 9 of 21. So he's not the same that we've seen or that we saw in the first half. And timeout is called by the Falcons, bringing the boos from the crowd.
I'm Greg Gumbel in New York. It's all over at RFK Stadium in Washington. Gus Frerotte, the 5-yarder to Terry Allen, juggling catch, bouncing off the defender, 5-yard touchdown. The Redskins knock off the previously unbeaten Dallas Cowboys today, 27-23. Marv and Cris, back to you in Atlanta.
Thank you, Greg. 5:59 remaining here at the Georgia Dome. The Atlanta Falcons holding on to a 20-17 lead on the New England Patriots. Scott Zolak involved in a catch with Drew Bledsoe. So the question is this Bledsoe warming up perhaps to come out of the bullpen?
You know, he said he could play if it were a playoff game, and for the Patriots with 1-2 record, it's not there, but close.
3rd and 25. George looking deep. And the lunging catch made at the marker. He was in bounds. What a catch by Bert Emanuel. Covered by Ty Law.
And Parcells looks sick. 3rd down and 1,000,000. And you let them catch this sort of a ball out on the sideline. McGinnis with the pressure, but then run by. What a gun. What a gun and what a catch by Bert Emanuel in the clutch. Well, boy, I tell you, there aren't many quarterbacks in the league that can throw it in there on a rope like that. You can question what he does mentally, but physically, Jeff George has the skills.
3rd and 25, and he picked up 26 for the first down at the 22. Hayward picking his way. He broke the tackle. He stiff arms and works his way inside the 15. Guyton and Hurst were finally able to get him down.
Ironhead just wearing out this Patriot defense. They've been fighting in there, and you get your hands on them and you try and wrap them up. And Guyton, you know, you got to have help. You just can't bring them down. I don't care how big you are. You got to have help to get them on the ground, especially in the 4th quarter.
8 more for Hayward, and a 2nd and 2 down at the 14-yard line. And a penalty marker was thrown in the secondary.
Personal foul, number 59. Personal foul, number 64. Offsetting continuing action fouls. 2nd down.
Well, that was Vincent Brown of the Patriots involved with Jeff Pawakola, the offensive lineman for the Falcons.
Big series now for this Patriot defense. They have to hold them out of the end zone.
2nd down and 2. 5:05 to go in the 4th. Hayward has a first down, and a penalty marker is thrown. Against Atlanta.
Key mistakes again by the Falcons. They had it going. That would have been a first down.
Holding, 10 yards, number 61 offense, 2nd down.
Well, once again, the center, Robbie Tobeck, who is playing for the injured Roman Fortin.
Where? Where?
Atlanta 9 penalties, 6 coming in the second half. It's a 2nd and 12 back at the 24 with just under 5 minutes to go. In this 4th quarter, Falcons lead by 3 points. George off the roll and runs it out of bounds. Tim Roberts chased him out. Once again, let's check in with Greg Gumbel. Greg?
All right, Marv, never count him out. With just 1:03 left on the clock, Dan Marino lofts it. O.J. McDuffie comes down with it 16 yards later with the extra point. It's the Dolphins leading the Bengals 26-23. Now they're under a minute to play, Marv.
All right, Greg, and here a 3rd down and 6 following the scramble by George. 3rd and 6 at the 18-yard line. Again, Darrell Spencer to the left. Bert Emanuel to the right. The lone deep back is Hayward. And it's Hayward. Short of the first down. Hit at the 15 by Vernon Lewis, one of the extra defensive backs. It'll be a 4th and 3 down to the 15. And Morton Anderson will look to make it 5 of 5 and a 6-point lead.
But about as good as Bill Parcells could have hoped for. At least you're still in the ball game, even if he makes this kick. Big hit that time by Vernon Lewis to come up there and stop Ironhead. Showing a lot of guts out there this afternoon as a defensive back.
33-yard attempt for Anderson. And he whips it through once again, so that equals a career high 5 field goals in a single game for Morton Anderson. And the Falcons now lead 23-17. This is the 4th time in his illustrious career that he has hit 5 in one game. Reminder, coming up next on most of these NBC stations, game 2 of our NFL doubleheader. Most of you will see the defending AFC champions San Diego Chargers traveling to Three Rivers to face the Pittsburgh Steelers. Others will see the Oilers hosting the Jaguars. Check your local listings for the game in your area. 4 minutes, 5 seconds to go in the 4th quarter. Falcons with a 6-point lead, and the question is, will we see Drew Bledsoe in a dramatic role here down the stretch? Scott Zolak had done very well in the first half, but not as sharp, obviously, in the second half.
Well, there's your franchise, $42 million quarterback. He has not played well this year. Zolak's had a good afternoon, but when you look at Drew Bledsoe's numbers, he's ranked 16th in the AFC among quarterbacks, which is significant because there's only 15 teams. So he has not had a great year, and I think they're just going to stay with Zolak for a number of reasons.
Troy Brown, Dave Meggett are back. Morton Anderson, line drives it. Well, that was misjudged. And Meggett will have to stay right there. They'll bring it out to the 20. Kept lifting on Meggett.
It's like one of those Tim Wakefield knuckleballs coming at you. Those things, try and figure them out.
And it is Scott Zolak and his Patriots starting out at the 20-yard line. The numbers on Scott: 20 of 34, 230 yards, including a touchdown pass. That's Scott's dad, Paul, who is now the athletic director at Ringgold Area High School in Monongahela, Pennsylvania. Catch made by Ben Coates, but he is well handled by Clay Matthews. And Coates looks to be shaken up as he was earlier.
Yeah, remember they fell on the back of his knee earlier, and boy, does that make it easier for a defensive coordinator like Joe Herring not have to worry about Ben Coates.
2nd and 6. And it's not almost intercepted. Pass intended for John Burke. Alton Montgomery could not hold on.
Alton Montgomery's had a big day so far in this one. And for John Burke, that one hit him right in the arms. Almost ended his team's chances with a drop ball.
Patriots and the Falcons each have 2 timeouts remaining. 3:27 left. 4th quarter. 3rd down and 6. Zolak stepping up and running for the first down. Slides his way across the 35-yard line.
And there's that extra dimension Scott Zolak's going to give you. A very heady quarterback. Nice play. Keeps this drive alive.
Ran for 12 yards for the first down from the 36-yard line. Meggett tried to spin and lost on the play. Hit by Montgomery.
Where has Vincent Brisby been here lately? They were working Darnell Walker over pretty good, and now have just gone away from it.
2nd down play. And Zolak's pass is caught, but a hard hit on Troy Brown. Issued by Alton Montgomery. As you mentioned, he has been a factor in his 5th year out of the University of Houston. Missed most of last season with a lacerated kidney.
And they have to get Troy Brown off the field, or they have to take a charge timeout.
He took a pop. 3rd and 5. Clock is running, and now it is stopped with 2:14 remaining in the 4th quarter.
With 2 minutes, 21 seconds, 2:21, please.
All right, they're resetting.
Thank you.
Patriots are given 7 seconds. They were allowing Brown to get off the field. They were trying to set things up, and now the clock is activated. Zolak's pass thrown in a crowd and broken up. Double coverage on the tight end. John Burke. Jesse Tuttle got a piece of it. John Burke is the backup tight end, and he's been the target with Ben Coates on the sideline.
And he's struggling. Those are 2 plays that Ben Coates would have made. You need to go back to the guys that got you here. Vincent Brisby would be my first choice. They've been hot. They've been connecting. Brisby or Meggett right here.
It is a 4th down and 5. New England at its 41. 2:13 remaining in the 4th. A pass to the sideline, incomplete. It was thrown to the marker intended for Brown. It was covered by Brad Edwards. So Atlanta will take over at the New England 41. Still much time to go. 2 minutes and 9 seconds left.
That was a tough catch, but the drops continue to haunt the New England Patriots. They have suffered with the drops this entire year. And here's a tough play, but on 4th down, NFL receive. That's not even a tough play. I take that back. I mean, you just got to catch that ball. Everybody's trying to get their hands turned over, catch it with your hand. Just wrap your body around it. Turn your hands underneath, make the catch.
Zolak 23 of 40, 239 yards. Hayward again able to pick his way carefully. Another splendid afternoon for Ironhead Hayward as the clock rolls down at 2 minutes to go in this 4th quarter.
Troy Brown almost knocked out just a couple of plays before this. He took the big shot from Montgomery, then comes back 2 plays later on 4th down, and they throw him the football. You just have to wonder if he's not still a little woozy. The doctor's over there flashing the light in his eyes, and don't know if it was a factor or not.
We're now down to 2 minutes to go in this 4th quarter. New England with 2 timeouts to go. Atlanta with 2 left.
He looks a little dazed, doesn't he, Marv?
Perhaps some deep thought about that last pass attempt. Hayward able to roll his way inside the 35. Stopped by Ricky Reynolds. And the clock is stopped. Timeout called by the Patriots. A reminder, coming up next on most NBC stations, it'll be game 2 of our doubleheader. And most of you will see the San Diego Chargers playing the Pittsburgh Steelers in Pittsburgh. Some of you will be getting the Oilers and the Jaguars. And it's coming up next.
You know, a rematch of the AFC Championship game from a year ago, and Pittsburgh really struggling to get things back together offensively. Mike Tomczak, the lowest rated quarterback in the AFC, and they have to get a little offense going. All the turnovers.
Scott Zolak was 15 of 20 in the first half. Second half numbers 8 of 20.
Really a tough decision now for the Atlanta Falcons if they don't make this first down. If you try a field goal and miss, it goes back to the spot of the kick. So the Patriots would take it over on the 40-yard line with plenty of time to do something with it.
3rd and 2 at the New England 33. 1:53 to go in the 4th. And George with the pass to wide open Metcalf. the season for Metcalf. And the Falcons lead at 29-17.
And the Georgia Dome finally awakens. Maybe they'll start to believe just a bit. They looked at the record of the teams that the Falcons had beaten thus far, a 1-10 combined record. Said, "Ooh, a big deal. Maybe this team just doesn't have it." But today, an impressive performance against a struggling Patriot team.
Morton Anderson with yet another point. And Atlanta now leads 30-17 with 1:45 to go on the fourth.
They try to give Eric Metcalf so much respect. They play off of him. You see the pick play that was used against them earlier. And this time, springing Eric Metcalf, Terry Ray had no chance after the pick. And Jeff George now has a winning record as a quarterback for the Falcons. 11 wins and 10 losses. And perhaps Jeff George and June Jones and Eric Metcalf and Ironhead beginning to get things turned around here.
I tell you, Atlanta on its way to a record of 4-1. And if there were early season MVP balloting, Craig Ironhead Hayward would be among the contenders, playing the best of his NFL career.
No question. And what a great personal story for Ironhead Hayward to overcome the addiction to alcohol, the addiction to the food. He weighed 328 pounds at one time, has slimmed himself down to 250 pounds. June Jones issued the ultimatum, said, "I will cut you if you don't weigh 250 pounds by the beginning of the season." He answered the call, and now he is a big-time hero here in this town.
Well, Troy Brown, who took that hard pump just moments ago, is back deep, put on the ground, though, and picked up by Rupert Grant, rookie from Howard. Stopped at the 40-yard line with 1:39 remaining in the fourth quarter. The numbers on Jeff George: 26 of 38, 295 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Capping it off with the touchdown flip to Eric Metcalf.
And really the game that Jeff George had against the Saints when he came back in after the concussion, drove his team back down for the come-from-behind win, and really established himself here.
And Zolak, under pressure, was able to release it. You can see the reaction of the Atlanta players. They were looking for a sack, but no, it's called an incomplete pass from Zolak. Pierce Holt looking for the sack call.
Begging would be the better term here, because Pierce Holt, he didn't have a sack last year. He's already got one this year, and just so close. Zolak just able to get that one out of there.
Second down and 10. Zolak to the sideline. Brisby able to crawl his way out of bounds.
Where was that on the last drive, though? I mean, Brisby has been open on that sideline route, working against Darnell Walker all day, and they just went away from him. The whole fourth quarter, he didn't see the ball. 9th catch of the game for 162 yards. He's able to stop the clock by getting out of bounds. They try to do it again. Incomplete. This has certainly been a solid effort once again for the Atlanta Falcons, but from the New England point of view, I think there will be much focus on that, what they felt was an interception that was turned around. Maurice Hurst wrestling for the football, running it in for a touchdown, but called pass interference, gave the ball to Atlanta. That evolved in Atlanta taking it down the field and hitting on a field goal. Zolak with a nice pass, and let's see what the ruling is. Was it a catch and a fumble or incomplete? Apparently called incompleted pass. Was that? I believe that was Roger Harper, the safety, coming up for the hit. And that's against the tight. That's a big-time hit. Just put his shoulder right in there, and a good clean hit, too. Not leading with the head, leading with the shoulder and the forearm, and just dislodging the football from John Burke, who has not had a memorable fourth quarter.
It's a 3rd and 10 at the 47-yard line. And Zolak is hauled down. 4th sack for the Falcons. Lester his second of the season. And the Atlanta front four continues to put forth a solid effort. They have played so well the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, they really have. Big, tough guys up front. And look at the hold is what Chris Dolman was complaining about. But for Lester Archambault, that's his second sack of the season now. Tough day for Zolak. Good afternoon, good first half, solid first half effort. Struggled a bit in the second half, though.
New England using its final timeout with 1:09 remaining. It'll be a 4th and 16 when we resume. The Atlanta Falcons on their way to a record of